I have compiled about 25 clips between Tanner and I, put them in a nice little montage, and we're gonna watch that together. And after each clip, we're gonna pause, talk about it. We're gonna kind of just use this as a jumping off point to talk about Warzone 1. And then anything that's not in the video, such as like the Dragon's Breath R9, for example, which does not feature in our montage. I've written things like that down so we can talk about those things as well. So really the goal is to at least touch on every like big thing that Warzone 1 had and kind of reminisce about it. For ad-free episodes, as well as early access and bonus episodes, check out our Patreon. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty Podcast, episode number 361. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon, and today is the day you've all been waiting for, a farewell to Warzone 1.0. Which is gone forever. Are you excited, Tanner?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Farewell Warzone. That's what I always say.
Farewell to Warzone. That is what you always say. You say it so many times.
Let's see if COD has tweeted anything about it yet. Let's take a peek at Raven's last tweet here.
Yeah, it is weird. They haven't said anything, right?
Let's see.
Like, thanks for the good times or whatever.
Happy Latin and Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, I think Ted said something. I saw Ted say something about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Ted thanked everyone for playing. That was nice of him to do. Maybe he should tell his social media team.
I like Ted. I hate most of his ideas, but I like him. He seems like a nice guy.
He cares. We've never said he doesn't care. Us. He just has, he wants what's best. He doesn't always have the right ideas, but he does really actually seem to care a lot, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Ted Timmy Timmons. Ruined Warzone 1 in Caldera, but also at least he fucking tried, which is more than I can say for Infinity Ward. For any employee at Infinity Ward, literally to a man. So anyways, welcome to the show. Today, we have a very exciting episode planned. We've got a couple pieces of media to share as well, which is going to be fun and exciting. And what we are going to do essentially is talk about Warzone 1, send it off. And the way in which we are going to do this is I have compiled about 25 clips between Tanner and I, put them in a nice little montage, and we're going to watch that together. And after each clip, we're going to pause, talk about it. Talk about the clip itself, maybe. So if like someone's using an M16, we'll be like, oh, that was a good kill or whatever the fuck. And then we'll also be like, by the way, remember the M16. We're going to kind of just use this as a jumping off point to talk about Warzone 1. And then anything that's not in the video, such as like the Dragon's Breath R9, for example, which does not feature in our montage. I've written things like that down so we can talk about those things as well. So really the goal is to at least touch on every like big thing that Warzone 1 had. And kind of reminisce about it. Talk about whether it was good, bad, fun, dog shit, whatever. Oh yeah. Got to write that down, of course. Can't believe I didn't. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for today, and I'm really excited about it. So we'll start with the video, and then we'll get into the things like not mentioned. Maybe talk a little bit about our favorite meta, favorite map, favorite guns. Those things might come up during the video, but if they don't, or we can just purposefully not have them come up during the video, we can save those for last. I think that's a good idea. And then at the end of this episode, the montage that we are here watching together, I will I will make public so you guys can all go to our YouTube and just watch the unedited or uninterrupted rather montage that we're going to be reviewing here. So that'll be, I think it's going to be called like Farewell Warzone 1 or something. Just go to our YouTube and you'll find it.
For sure watch that before or after even, because I know I would get annoyed too, the way we're going to do this, pausing it and not just watching the video. So you should do both. Go watch the video, just the clips too. Then you won't have to be interrupted a bunch of times because there's a lot of funny shit in there.
Yeah, for sure. And then what else was I going to say? So yeah, if you're listening to this only and not watching the video, don't worry. You're not missing out on too much by not being able to see the clips. I will describe what's happening in the clips, and most of the episodes is obviously still going to be us talking about it, so don't stress it too much. But you should check out the montage anyway. When you get off work and you're home, go to our YouTube and you find it. I have ads off for it, so you can just watch it without ads on YouTube. Maybe I'll put them on though. Fuck you.
Yeah, put some ads in there.
I'll throw some ads in there.
Had a lot of ads.
I'll throw a fuck ton of ads in there. Yeah, actually. So anyway, so yeah, before we get started, real quickly, let me I'm going to do a little bit of this here real quick.
Do a little bit of this.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah, quick announcement. Our behind the scenes episode for our Damascus patrons is now live. Tanner and I did one and it was solid. We talked about our appearance on the scope a little bit more, Crash Games podcast episode, and maybe what we're going to do with respect to him and that show, and maybe have him as a guest or something. We got into the details on that. We got into some details on it was actually a lot of like actually behind the scenes stuff. So like plans we have on the back end, things that you guys wouldn't see, some things you guys would see, a lot of things you guys would see actually. And it was solid. This is one of those episodes where a lot of you have said that you like the behind the scenes shows, particularly like the business side or whatever. If that's you, this is definitely a behind the scenes to listen to, because that was like most of what we talked about actually was the business side of the podcast in our latest behind the scenes. Sometimes we don't touch on that too much because it's just not relevant, but this month it was a lot. Pretty much everything we talked about kind of went back to that. So it was interesting. It was really fun. It was kind of different than a behind the scenes we've done in a while, but that is now live.
Yeah, those are always good. Those are always fan favorites, they say.
Yeah, fan favorites indeed. So anyway, do we have any other announcements? We have a Damascus hangout on Friday. It's going to be probably at 6 p.m. Pacific time, but we will dial that in and post it on the weekly schedule image we post on Monday. So you can check our Twitter or check the Discord and you can see that finalized, but like 99% sure it's going to be Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. Yeah. We'll probably do some customs or something. We'll figure it out. But that's going to be fun as well for you Damascus boys.
Hopefully the new maps we get with Season 6 are in there because they look pretty good actually.
Yeah, we'll be post season 6, so customs we can like fuck around with some of the new content if it works. So hopefully customs work because they've broken them before on new updates. But we'll see. We will give it a try. Yeah. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, those are both perks. The behind the scenes episode and our hangouts are both perks of Damascus patrons. So you could become a Damascus patron, patreon.com/thedropshot. Get access to that episode and all other episodes we've done, bonus episodes, and then come to the hangout, obviously. So anyway, yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. And I think we're ready to fucking get started. What do you say?
I think so. You gonna jingle it?
I'm gonna jingle it. Yeah, I've decided on jingling it.
Okay. So I don't remember. What's this first clip here? Are we playing this first? What? Because this didn't go in the video, right? Okay. So. This was the one that's not on the video. Okay.
Yeah. We can start with it, I guess. I think I know what it is.
It's the crampy one. Yeah.
Oh, this is not the one I thought it was. Okay, yeah, we're watching this for sure. sure.
Yeah, this is great. I didn't listen. Hopefully, he doesn't say anything TOS in it. We'll have to edit it out. I doubt he does because it's on Twitch. But
L is in a protected class, so he's allowed to say things that are TOS. So if he says something TOS, we'll have to.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll have to reveal what that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. All right, welcome to the show, boys and girls. Today, farewell to Warzone 1, baby. Woo! Fuck, woo!
The best video game of all time, if you ask me.
That's what some people say. So there's a lot to say about Warzone 1. I could do a whole little fucking preamble speech, but we have a lot to get into, and I'll save all the grand narratives for the end. Because we're going to talk about pretty much anything I would say right now by virtue of going through the video and the notes. Now, as I said, I have put together a montage of clips from Tanner and I over the years from Warzone 1. We are going to watch that in a second, but first, we're going to watch this beautiful clip. This is from fan favorite community member Razinon, the artist formerly known as L2K Greatness. I'm just going to let it speak for itself.
Yeah,
right?
We're going to have to hit play at the same time when you're ready.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We are going to have to do that. I have it pulled up here.
This is great.
I have my quality as high as it can go, which is 720p. And I'm going to give us a countdown.
Yeah. Oh, wait, let me set the scene real quick. Just keep in mind,
set the scene.
This is right when Caldera dropped. This is when Raven Software went on vacation for 4 weeks for Christmas, and they put Krampus in the game and didn't touch Krampus. And it ruined Warzone, and people actually didn't play for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, because the game was unplayable, and they were all out enjoying their holidays, thanking everyone for playing their shit video game and not mentioning Krampus. So that's what we're about to see here. It's a wonderful Krampus video. Yeah.
Fantastic piece of media. You guys could probably guess what happens here, but on the screen we have community member Razinon, and we did not get his permission to show this clip, by the way. So fuck you,
we
L.
wouldn't. Yeah.
And we wouldn't. We would refuse to do that. Yeah. Fuck you, L. Sue me. Our considerable legal team will respond in kind. Yeah, this is L playing solos. And again, there's not a single Activision developer who's not drunk off the eggnog at this time. Yeah, while he's playing this, joint, all the Activision devs are drunk on eggnog. So we're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Love how it just starts off with the bells. You hear the little bells.
Yeah. There. Yep.
So he just shot Krampus 40 times.
Yeah. He's plating up.
I love the sounds. I love the Krampus sounds.
Yep. L has only 1 plate left. He's now downed. He's selfing. This is late game, by the way. There are 6
players.
6 players left.
You can just drive away from Krampus. Just get in the car. Yeah, you can drive away from him.
Yeah. His mic is too quiet, by the way. He's trying to hit a buy station because he needs plates now, because Krampus has been farming him. Krampus, of course, camping the buy station, and he's dead. And he's dead. He gets 5th place. Not a single other real player in sight.
He's in actual shock. His mouth is just on the floor.
Yeah, it do be a gate for sure.
The Krampus days, those were great, man. I love when Raven did that. They really just said, fuck all of you, deal with it.
Yeah, they did.
Man, that was great.
They did. Krampus was in for far too long, yeah. So that's one of the great, beautiful aspects of Warzone 1 that is not going to be in our montages, of course, Krampus. When, again, as Tanner said, they had their stupid holiday event. Krampus was the thing, one of the things. He had the same health in quads as in solos, I guess, because L mag dumped him 5 times and he didn't die. And they added him to the game. No one liked it. And then they went on vacation for, I think it was like 3 weeks until Krampus got removed. It was a joke. It was insane. Some people, some streamers just stopped playing Warzone until he got removed. That's how bad it was.
No, yeah, that's really how it was. People were like, I'm not playing the week until Krampus is gone. Like whatever. It's also Christmas, so I won't play. Like, you know, I wouldn't be playing 2 or 3 of these days, but the other days I'm just not, because this game's unplayable. Yeah. So just keep in mind, Activision's they do tell us the studios play test these games. They don't. You play test with Krampus one time, you know that can't be in the game at all, right? Let alone 2 weeks without being touched. So yeah, cool.
Of course.
God, that was insane.
So shout out to Krampus.
Yeah.
And thanks, L, for that content. And again, we did not ask his permission. And don't worry, we'll see a little more of L. Don't you guys worry. So anyway. All right, now into the moment you've all been waiting for. Farewell Warzone 1. So we have our montage here. Tanner and I are going to play this for you guys.
This seems to be the meat and potatoes here.
This is the meat and the potatoes. It's a collection of clips from me and Tanner. No particular order other than I tried to alternate clips. So it's like my clip, Tanner clip, my clip, Tanner clip, etc. And it's about 10 minutes long. So since we're going to be pausing after every clip, this is going to take a while. It's going to be fun. So are you ready, buddy? You're muted.
I'm muted, yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. Farewell to Warzone 1. That's what I say.
Okay. I'm full screen and I can't play it, I guess. So
well, I can hit play.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
I'm going to test it. See if you can pause it when I hit play, though, real quick, okay?
Okay.
Fuck this game.
To let you do anything?
Shit.
Not while I'm full screen, no.
This is
cool. Okay, we'll all have to just be pausing it then. All right, we're going to restart it. Here we go.
Yeah. So. All right, here we go.
Let me up. Fuck this game. It's dog shit. I'm gonna need assistance now.
This is a longer clip than it probably needed to be, but it's fine. And the quality is usually good.
Look at no recoil on those.
So
guns,
yeah, I'm shooting a.
On me.
What is this? I don't know what gun that is.
Well, you're jacking kids.
Well, now I'm jacking kids.
Jacking the XM4.
XM4, that's what it was, yeah. So I'm in a building, we're playing quads. We're just jacking kids off.
Even the shotguns didn't move. Look at that.
Yeah, I know.
Like Girth Boy.
It's like hard to tell you even fucking. What's it called? Our shooting.
He's here.
So there's 2 people pushing my building. They're shooting me at the same time and they just stand their chance because I have a Jack 12 and they're pissed. Yeah.
I'm coming.
So 3 of them are dead
Forgot about him.
and there's 1 left. And then I get out. So the reason I played it a little bit more at the end there is because I just wanted to show I do live at the end of that. I get behind that shack and plate and reload. Pop softens that guy up. We end up killing him. We res jacks. Everything's dandy. So yeah, a lot to talk
Captain
about
Jack.
in that clip. Yeah. So first of all, of course, I had to open with a clip of Captain Jack goated with the cum. The best meta in Warzone ever, fully automatic shotguns. It was fun and exciting. It was perfect. Aiming is cringe. You don't have to aim with a shotgun. And when it's full auto, you don't even have to click either. It's really fucking simple and fun. Was that weapon grossly overpowered? Yes, it was. Here's what happened for those of you who don't remember. In Caldera, we got a health increase at some point from 100 to 150. And then they also balanced some weapons around that health increase. What they didn't do, what they forgot about, was every shotgun. They didn't change the damage values for shotguns. That between them raising the health and them realizing shotguns are in the game was like 3 months. So some people eventually figured out like a month after the health increase, oh, shotguns are fucking insane now with this health increase. SMGs can't compete. So then some people started using the shotguns. The Jack 12 was still really fucking slow, like the movement speed, so a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, you could tell from that clip even. You were just in a house the whole time. You could tell how slow the movement speed is.
Yeah, so that was one thing. But if someone was in a building like that, they just don't stand a chance. Multiple people. And it's not like I played that well. I mean, I did because I won, but it's you could have a 70 IQ and win that gunfight there. They walk into a building, you just look at them and pull the trigger and you win. Yeah, it's that simple.
You just aim at the doorway.
Just no skill at all. Yeah.
You didn't reload that whole clip either, did you?
I reloaded after the first kill. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Right before I started to res Jack.
Yeah. The interesting thing, too, looking at those, is the shotguns. There was no difference in aiming and firing in terms of spread. I don't think it spread out at all.
Yeah.
Like it just stays the same.
Yeah. Yeah, once you start
cool.
firing your reticle, there's just no bloom. It just stays perfectly normal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things too where you couldn't even, like, if you played that clip muted, you couldn't tell you were shooting the shotgun because it also didn't have recoil.
It's very weird. It's jarring. That was the first thing I thought watching this again, like last week. I was like, oh, am I even shooting this? Like, I can hear it. That's it, though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're even shooting.
There's no screen shake. There's no actual recoil. There's no, like, feedback. I don't have vibration on my mouse. Yeah, you just can't tell.
Oh, you don't have vibration on? You gotta turn that on.
Yeah, I need to get a Mad Catz mouse.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then another thing, which we're going to see more of, is the XM4. You see a little bit of that here. You'll see more AR clips, obviously. Yeah, like Tanner said, just doesn't move. The gun doesn't have recoil. There's no visual recoil either. Just trivially easy to use, which is something, we've talked about a lot. But
this must have been very early in Caldera. Because the fact you're not using any Vanguard guns there, this tells me this must have been the first month or two of Caldera when the Vanguard guns were awful still.
It was for sure, yeah.
Very early on, yeah.
For sure early, yeah. Because the Vanguard guns eventually, like the ARs, were just better.
Know what's funny, looking back on, that Vanguard Royale existed. And some people preferred that. I couldn't believe, I still to this day, I can't believe, I saw some Wager kid the other day that was talking about how they miss Vanguard Royale. And they were serious. I'm like, you missed the mode that had like airplanes in it when the game launched? What?
We'll get into that.
God, that mode fucking sucked.
Yeah.
That was very weird to me, always, that people enjoyed that early on in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, all right, ready for the next one?
So yeah. Let's get into the next one here.
Okay.
How embarrassing.
Ooh, the old Swissy?
The red door. He just broke the top.
No, he's still here.
Is that a Swiss?
That's the old Swiss.
It was a car.
Thing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. I thought it was a Swiss. I was looking at it. I pull it out.
So we're on Verdansk? Yeah. Oh, it is a Swiss, yeah.
Aim click.
Yep. The little MP7 for the three-piece.
Someone click that now.
The three-piece with barbecue sauce. Wow. Yeah.
God, that was fun, man.
Yeah, so what just happened for those of you listening? It was a clip of Tanner on Verdansk. He was at one of the IHOPs, and he had a Swiss as his primary and an MP7 as a secondary. This is one thing I talked about a lot, especially late Verdansk when I started like really trying to snipe. And once I lowered my sniping sense, I got like way better at it. And one of the things I realized was like, oh, you might as well just use an SMG with your sniper instead of an AR, because you can, like, if you're up close and you get a shot on someone, even if you don't down them with the headshot, because you could one-shot headshot at the time, if you hit them anywhere, they're going to be weak enough to where you can just switch to your SMG and dump them. And then you're a lot stronger in buildings if you have an SMG as well. So he was running the MP7 and the Swiss. He clicked on one head, clicked on two heads. Their teammate runs up behind him. He switches to his SMG. And I don't know if he wins there with an AR, by the way. Maybe not. But he kills the guy also, the third guy.
Yeah, because of how aggressive I would play too with like the Swiss and the car, because of how fast they were. Like I would go into buildings sometimes using the Swiss and car. So I would just rather have an SMG because I would use my Swiss from 15 or 20 meters to 400 meters. And then from 1 to 15, I'd use my SMG, you know?
Yeah.
But man, it was...
I forgot about the Swiss.
Oh, I like that so much better than the Car 98. It felt so much better to me. I think just the sound, the look. I don't know. I always preferred it.
It sounded great.
The car. I mean, they're both fantastic, of course. If you like the car better, I don't blame you. They were the same thing, basically. Just Swiss, the reskinned version of it. But
Swiss had a lot less bullet drop from what I remember, but it didn't have as good of idle sway. That's what I think, like, the main difference. And it had a box mag. That was why I liked the Swiss better.
Yes, that was the big thing about the Swiss. You're right. Yeah. You reloaded. Yeah, that was the annoying thing about the car, is having to, like, fire a couple shots, reload 2 shots every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, there was just something so satisfying about ADSing with the Swiss, that quick ADS, clicking. There wasn't a ton of recoil after the shot. the sound of it, the hit marker of the sound of getting the down with the headshot, the rechambering of the round, it was so satisfying, man. And that was just always so much fun.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one-shot snipers were kind of overpowered, but also not everyone was always hitting their shots with them.
Yeah, you still had to aim and shoot. Yeah, for sure. Like those two kids that you sniped in the beginning, they just weren't very good.
No.
I mean, one of them got like 3 bullets on you, maybe. The other guy didn't shoot you at all. So yeah, if Tanner had an AR in that situation, in other words, those dudes are both still dead because they're just not good. They're like right in the open, no cover. They're under him because Tanner's on a rooftop. He's on top of IHOP. So Tanner wins there with an AR or a sniper. So yeah, I agree. I don't think they were that overpowered. I think the car was super overpowered for sure. But especially back when it was 100 health, like in Verdansk, one-shot snipers were not crazy. They were not like a huge issue. I think it was the car specifically that was an issue because it had aim assist and it had no idle sway. So it was actually like brain dead on controller for good controller players to just kill people.
Yeah,
with it.
you know, that's right. That's what we did used to always say that back then, huh? That if you're on a controller, you should be using the car because it got aim assist. That's what it was.
Because it was technically in the marksman category, yes.
Yeah, I remember having those discussions on the pod, actually, Swiss versus car. Now, yeah, and it was, we said if you're on controller, use the car 98. It's a marksman rifle, you get aim assist. You don't with the Swiss. That's why the Swiss was underused compared to the car 98. Yeah, that's right.
Almost certainly, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But God, those were the days, man. A lot of fun.
Those were the days indeed. Let's get into the next one.
Flip it, ship it.
Man, fucking Dropshot podcast.
Yo, fuck you, you bitch. Fucking pre-aiming motherfucking bitch. You fucking cheating motherfucking
wow.
You were listening
wow.
to fucking
trash,
So, of course,
suck my dick from the back.
Yeah, of course, no montage about a Call of Duty game at all is complete without toxic comms. So that
someone shit talking, yeah.
So you guys could probably discern what that was if you were listening. That was we won a game of Warzone. We got first place, and in the after the game open lobby comms or whatever, those kids were obviously deeply upset. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't get that anymore. People don't stay in the lobbies anymore. Why is that?
Yeah, it is weird.
Remember
that
how
people
often
would stay in the lobbies.
Warzone 1?
I think you weren't allowed to leave the game in Warzone 1. I think that's what it was. Once someone won, that option was not available to you unless you unplugged your console. Like if you pressed escape, it like the leave game button was blacked out. I'm almost sure that was the case. And that's probably why they were in there. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And now you can leave, I think.
Yeah. No, well, you couldn't for a while. That was an issue in this game, actually.
Correct. Yes, correct. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, just great. And why is he getting mad at us for pre-aiming? What does that mean?
Yeah, what a weird complaint.
Why are you aiming, man? How dare you aim in the first person shooter? What the fuck, man?
Why are you aiming at where you can predict I'm going to be next because I'm so predictable and dog shit that I'm going to re-peek the same angle that you're pre-aiming? Not my fault, dumb fuck. If I'm pre-aiming you, I'm either cheating, which none of us were, to my knowledge, or you're just a predictable shitter, and I know you're going to re-peek this angle or peek this next angle or whatever, so get pre-aimed. That's your fault. Yeah, it's a weird thing to get upset about.
Yeah, is that right? Is there even open mic in Warzone 2 after the match? Yeah, I guess maybe not. I've never thought about it, but yeah, no one ever talks after it. That could be why.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never thought about it, other than I know people don't do it, so that makes total sense, yeah. All right, moving on.
Yeah, not much else to say there.
Oh, here's this. So this is the car.
This is the car, yeah. Car and the
car
FFAR.
FFAR. Oh, yeah. That was a fun one, man.
Yeah. So Tanner's in the back of a Bertha.
Found him? Oh my god, that's nasty. Oh my god. Any clippers? And then Jake just runs someone over at the end of that.
Somebody, yeah.
A lot of vehicle gameplay there again, huh?
A lot of vehicle gameplay. Vehicles were relevant. That's one thing you notice from that. So yeah, just to describe it real quick, Tanner, we're playing quads. Tanner's in the back of a Bertha, standing up, and there's some other guy driving a vehicle toward us. Tanner snipes him out of it. And then Jake runs someone over. Jake is the one driving at airport, the airstrip, whatever. Yeah. So, nice snipe. But the one thing that does stand out to me there is, the vehicles. That's 2 people, 2 ships crossing in the night, as Robert Frost would say. I think that's who it was. It doesn't matter.
That what he says. Yeah.
And you just don't see that in Warzone 2 because vehicles aren't relevant. We talked about this on Patreon, actually, in our most recent gold episode, patreon.com/thedropshot, where we said, boy, don't you miss vehicles being relevant in BR? Because how often do you yourself play Moz, or any map, actually, and use a vehicle? Probably never. How often do you see other people using vehicles? Also probably never. Because they have dogshit acceleration now, and they also have the fuel system, which I don't think really matters, and they also have dogshit handling, which is probably the really biggest reason just no one uses vehicles anymore.
Yeah, like it's just solos pretty much. We were watching Metaphor before this, and I mean, he was in a vehicle the whole time playing solos. Moz, everyone is, but aside from that, you don't see them often at all. And it's because like back then, if you ran a Bertha into a wall and then hopped out, when you're ready to get back in it, you get in the Bertha, you immediately press whatever your keybind is to back up to the right. You're accelerating immediately when you press the button. You're full speed almost immediately, and the turning it happens exactly when you press it. Now there's like fucking inertia on the vehicles. Like you're turning right and the vehicle's like still going
power
left
steering
for a little while. Yeah, it's
you gotta
very
really crank that bitch. Yeah.
The vehicles they handle actually as poorly as the World War II vehicles did in Caldera early on before they buffed them. They just have more power than the Vanguard ones did. Because the Vanguard ones, remember that? They added World War II Jeeps into the game that didn't have enough power to go up the mountains.
They didn't have enough horsepower to do a 60-degree incline.
Play tested. Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
Another thing as well about the vehicles, they do suck. Before I forget, is that also what we had in Warzone 1 was e-brakes. If I pressed the space bar, I would hit my e-brake and I could fucking drift. I could take like a really tight corner with a vehicle. And I just don't think there's an e-brake in Warzone 2. Because now when I press what used to be my e-brake keybind, I jump on the fucking roof, which I never want to do, by the way. I never ever want to do it. And again, we talked about this on Patreon, patreon.com/thedropshot. Classic case of an Activision dev adding a feature that no one asked for and no one wants and no one will use. And it comes at the expense of a feature I did use, which was the e-brake. So maybe there is still have an e-brake.
Yeah, it doesn't work the same then. Because I've tried using it and it never feels like you're using an e-brake.
Yeah.
I've just always pressed spacebar and I don't think it ever actually did anything.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
So maybe there is one again,
even
but
if
it's
there is
shit.
An e-brake, there's not an e-brake, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the point I made about this, because I thought there might still be one when I talked about this on Patreon, patreon.com/dropshot. And I said, well, even if there is one and I just don't know about it, because I looked through the settings to try and find it, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, well, even if there is one, it's obviously not very good because otherwise people might be using vehicles. Or it just doesn't, even if it is good, the handling outside of that and the acceleration is still too bad for it to matter. So, yeah it's like vehicles just used to be relevant. And it sucks that they're not.
Yeah, remember how strong the Bertha actually was, how hard it was to snipe people through it?
Yes.
You almost couldn't for a long period of time.
Yeah, I feel like it was weird.
I actually think there was a time where you couldn't shoot people in it. Like, I don't think it was possible for a short period of time. Maybe when the game launched or something, but I'm pretty sure there was a time where you could not take damage or something if you were driving it. Yeah,
it feels like you got a lot of hit markers on people in the driver's seat of the Bertha.
If you were using a fully automatic gun, it made it hard to shoot people out of it, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was something to do with the windows. At some point, they changed, like, the windows to make them larger, maybe. Something with that change. Like the back window also had like armor plates and then they opened that up, I think. But
I think the back window
made some changes.
Had like the metal grate on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was hard to hit people out of that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The Bertha days. It's funny too because when Warzone 2 came out, I remember us saying how the new Bertha could be overpowered because there were 2 seats you can sit in then. So you could get 2 people to sit inside of it, and then you could also have 2 in the back. But it's just because the handling, the speed, the windows are huge. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
all right, moving on.
Yep, let's move on.
Let's look for some dipshits in here.
20 meters right. Oh fuck! Right in front of us. Right in front of us.
We're on the Rebirth Island now.
Down. We love those weird ass.
That kid should not have looked over this way.
Yeah, that was.
Go to Dote. Shout out to Go to Dote.
Chopper.
Go to Dote. Yeah. Former friend of the pod. I know, slide canceling.
There's doing a little slide.
There's 3 more guys straight ahead.
I think they're in the house.
How is
yeah,
that
you
not
just hate
down?
dog shit reticles.
One in front of me, right in front of me.
See him? Oh, on me.
Oh, you're
You stunned? You stunned? Yep.
Stun lock.
Stuns are so OP.
You're such a piece of shit.
He's so slow, dude.
You even said stun.
Did you get him?
Yeah. Yep. Sit on. Sure did.
They bought Lodi right here.
Yep, right in front.
Yeah, this just
Down him?
nice. This just makes me
different.
miss Warzone 1 gunplay so much.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like
so
just
a lot going on in that clip. A lot going on in that clip. So that was a clip of me on Rebirth Island. I was using, what was that AR? Is that an XM4?
XM4 and Swiss, yeah.
XM4 and Swiss, and on Rebirth, which is dumb. I should have been using an SMG, but anyway. And yeah, I don't know. I get a couple kills, and then some guy's running from me.
Oh, that was the Krig. Yeah, never mind. That wasn't the XM4. Yeah, he's right.
And that's what I said. And some guy's running from me. I throw a stun at him, and then I run around the building to see him running out while he's stunned, and he's just moving like 1 mile an hour, and I'm like, oh, this fucking kid is so dead. So I, of course, kill him because stuns are insanely overpowered. And then I take out the sniper or whatever I had and kill the other guy. So yeah, there was a lot going on there. Number one that you pointed out that I'd like to touch on before I forget. Reticles. Remember you guys used to be able to change your reticles?
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I like that. They should bring that back.
They should bring that back. They didn't for Warzone 2, of course, but I remember explicitly grinding out, I think it was called Cover Shot, a reticle for like the HDR that like Iron used. And I was like, oh, that's a clean ass reticle.
There was a crate. Yeah, what was that one? And it actually took a while to get, if I remember correct. Like you had to get a lot of kills.
It was dog shit. Yeah, I remember having to go play Ground War for like an hour or two to like finish getting it or whatever for Warzone.
Gave you something to do.
And it gave you something to do, and it also gave you extra customization because some people, like you said, preferred some reticles that you think are dog shit, and then you might prefer a reticle that I think is dog shit, but that's okay because we get to pick our own reticle within each optic, which is really fucking cool. And there were even some like good zombies reticles. I remember in Cold War grinding out a Axial Arms 3X reticle, and it was a zombies reticle, so you had to get like 1,000 fucking zombies kills or whatever to get it, which was cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which one that was.
It was green. That's all I remember.
Okay, interesting. Remember the Get Donutted kid? That was another popular clip.
Yeah, Jake has a clip of that.
Reticle.
Yeah.
Get fucking donutted kid. Yeah. Yeah, they had some crazy. It's just something so small, but it was something else to grind for. I don't understand why we can't get that back. I guess they don't bring it back because they end up just adding in more optics. So they say, oh, we have 8,000 attachments in our FPS video game, but it's because all the optics are the same. They just have different reticles, basically.
Yeah, kind of true, actually.
Like grinding for Blue Dot in MW19, it was like, oh shit, this guy's got Damascus and he's got Blue Dot. He's fucking sweaty as hell.
Yeah.
Imagine a different colored dot on your optic meant you played the game more.
Yeah.
And grinded for that. Those are the days. And it actually, the Blue Dot really was a lot better. Easier to see people in most situations.
Sure. For sure. Yeah.
So really unfortunate. I hope we get those back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then another thing is the stun, to go back to the stun. You guys remember how overpowered stuns were for all of Warzone 1 the entire time, 100% of the time? Yeah, they were really good.
Even when they nerfed them in like Caldera, they were still way too strong.
Yeah, even after the nerf. Yeah, they were super strong. And they were nerfed far too late, and it wasn't enough. Yeah, and then there was another thing that added to the the sectarian K-BAM versus aim assist debate was that if you got stunned on a controller, you couldn't really turn fast unless you had aim assist drag on someone, and then it just didn't matter that you were stunned. So you could be stunned on a controller as long as you pre-aim the correct angle, you're still going to be able to land all of your bullets on whoever stunned you coming in the door. Whereas on K-BAM, it just wasn't possible. You just automatically died. And we used to joke about this, like, oh, I'm stunned. Let me just put my hands up. Put my hands up. There's nothing you can do. There's no outplay. It's not possible. The stuns were insane for all of Warzone 1, all of it.
Yeah. I remember too, there was there's a cap on it, of course. I remember somebody like testing it, or like they had, because on your mouse you have like a little button that changes the DPI, which is the sensitivity basically.
Yeah, I remember.
And someone, I want to say Huskers, set it to like the highest possible sensitivity to try to get out of the stun, and it wouldn't matter. It was just lock still. So your sensitivity could be on the lowest possible or the highest. It doesn't matter. You're swiping your mouse like actually 10 times to the right, and you barely even move your reticle. It was so incredibly broken. K-BAM players especially complained about this for a year and a half. They just never did anything about it, really. Yeah, that was broken as fuck. We actually we stopped using stuns because I remember us saying, I don't know why we're even using them. They still just get aim assist and they kill us. I don't know why I'm wasting my time using a stun. It just doesn't even matter. When we can't even move, it was so broken.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised I had a stun clip at all, honestly. But yeah, they were really
It works well
good.
there when he's not looking at you. He's not getting aim assist if he's not looking at you. But
exactly. Yeah, he was running like directly away from me.
If you're playing Rebirth, like you're stunning someone watching a door in a room, and even if you try to like run really quick and jump through to get out of his line of sight, you weren't getting that kill. It was so busted.
Yeah. And then I think the last thing to mention in that clip is just Rebirth in general. I don't know if we have another Rebirth clip at all, but remember Rebirth Island, guys?
I do, yeah.
Everyone's favorite Resurgence map, supposedly. It was a solid little map. That one took place by our drop spot, which was...
Control center.
Control center, yes.
Control center, we moved through tents to, whatever that
apartments.
PLI was called there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just running through that map.
Yeah, that may be our only Rebirth clip, actually. Most of them are Verdansk clips.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just, it was a pretty solid map in hindsight, Rebirth Island. Would I say it's better than Vondel? Tough question. No. Not that tough, actually. It's not better than Vondel. It's good, though. But Prison was insane.
Something else interesting to look back on there is how we were all pushing and like together. Because, people always complained about stackers and Resurgence. That's how Resurgence was for most of the time, actually. It wasn't until kids got really, really good and you'd start splitting up and just basically you're queuing with 4 people in Resurgence, but you're not really like playing with them. Like you're kind of just doing your thing.
Beacons,
that's even kind of what we do on Vondel now. You really don't, you're like talking and calming, but you're not like with each other. But that we were playing like it's a BR. We're all pushing together. And if someone saw that clip now, they'd be like, "Oh, these fucking stacking pussies. You're not solo quality."
We were also outside though. I don't know if that's like rat stacking. I know what you mean though. We were definitely quite close to each other for sure. But also there was a loadout there. I think we were running for it or something. Maybe.
Yeah.
So
that's possible.
I don't know
too.
But
all right.
Anyway, it's all a little clip. Yep.
Let's just go watch. I'm gonna drop my gun and go watch him.
We're gonna teabag him while you assassinate, but I'm gonna stun. If you shoot your gun, I'm gonna kill him.
He's in here.
Let's do this. Go, L. Go, L. Don't. Nobody. He's right there.
You stun. Assassinate.
This is the worst lobby I've ever seen. That's literally a bronze. That was a bronze 5 lobby. Holy shit.
Oh my god, dude.
There's no worse lobby I've ever been in.
Yeah, that was back when you could check your lobbies, and that was that lobby was probably a 0.35 average. It was so bad. So there was one player left. We're all pushing him. We stun him. We're all just standing around him. He's trying to bash us with his pistol, and then we just hit him to death. I dropped my guns on the ground just watching the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that lobby was bad, so we played that way.
That exact dude, I totally forgot about that until just now. That back then, remember when the API worked? So there were websites like warzonetracker.net or whatever, or codtracker.com or whatever the fuck. Anyway, you could use it to check your lobby, how good your lobby is. So like the average KD of every individual's KD in the lobby KD average as a whole, and it even ranked the lobby. So it would be like if the average KD was like 1.7, that would be like a diamond 1 lobby. Unofficially, obviously, because there's no ranked mode, but it was just a quick way at a glance to get a sense for how good the average player is in this lobby. And Tanner, you hear him say like, this is a bronze 3 lobby. Like bronze 3 was like the worst possible lobby. I don't know if it actually was, but those kids were dog shit in that match. So in the clip, it's all 4 of us alive, and it's final circle, and the last team has 1 guy left, and we know where he is. He's in like a porta potty by Boneyard.
Little poop.
He's in one little tiny shack, so we know exactly where he is. So then the plan was, all right, I had a stun, I guess. I was like, I'm gonna stun, and then L or someone assassinate, and the rest of us will teabag while he's being assassinated, because the guy had no hope of killing us. He was terrible, and it was 1v4. So Tanner drops his guns, and we're just fucking laughing at him. And sure enough, he crouch walks out of the thing with a pistol, and is like trying to shoot somebody, and he's stunned, and he's just getting fucking destroyed. You can't assassinate unless you have a gun in your hand. That's what happened to L, by the way. So we just, instead of assassinating him, we're just punching him to death, and then he dies, and we win the game.
Yeah.
Just the worst lobby we've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I miss seeing the lobbies. I do, and then I don't, actually. It was like, it did make things very toxic, but it was also nice to see like what lobby you were in, who you were against. It was especially great in Warzone 1 because you could tell when people were cheating. Like, oh, this guy was hacking. He had 38 kills and 0 downs. So, yeah. Yeah, that was great though, man.
Yeah, those were great times. Those were great times for sure, and I missed them. Dude, I totally forgot about those websites.
Oh, yeah.
When the API was like accessible.
Yeah, hey, we had a fucking sponsorship deal with one of them up until they had to give
Shout
up
out to
9 months
Coliseum.
ago.
Yeah. Activision ruining small businesses, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing, by the way. I've seen talk of this. People are like, oh, I hope this comes back in MW3. I don't think it is, guys. This is an Activision decision. It has nothing to do with the game studio. It's not Infinity Ward that didn't... Well, none of the studios probably want it, if I'm being honest. But this is all Activision's doing. This has nothing to do with the studios creating the game. So it's... If Activision took it out of one game, I really don't think it's coming back.
It's definitely not coming back. Yeah, I agree with you. So anyway, really funny, solid little clip there. That's one that you would get a lot of utility out of by watching. Yeah. Because it's fucking hilarious watching him crouch walk out of it.
Yeah, and then he's like swinging his gun just at nothing. There's no one even there.
He's just lost. He's just a little bud. He's a tiny little buddy. So anyway, moving on.
By the thing on the right said it was down low, and then I push up and he's up high on that.
So we're on Caldera in the Vanguard era because I'm using 2 Vanguard guns. I forget.
Oh, I broke a guy.
I never used this.
Down one!
Oh, I hit the guy.
Nice. No, I headshotted him too. Someone's gotta clip it. Chat.
Lowcat, back when Lowcat played.
Yeah, back when Lowcat played. Yeah, so that clip, we're on Caldera. I'm using, I don't remember the name of that sniper.
3-line. That's the 3-line.
3-line, the 3-line.
I never liked any of the Vanguard snipers, literally because I didn't like how they sounded. Did you guys hear that bullet, that sound? Dog shit. It's like a BB gun. They were uninteresting because of that.
Not a good
Some of the Vanguard guns just sounded, well, I guess most of the snipers just sounded like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Made them so unsatisfying.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I'm using a 3-line with, I think it was a PPSH. No,
that was something else, I think. I don't know what it was.
Tommy gun or something?
No. You had a weird build, so it's hard to tell what that was now. It almost looked like a weird build of the Blixen. I don't know. But I don't think it was that either.
I don't think it was a Blixen, no. It doesn't matter, whatever. It was a 3-line, the sniper with an SMG. And the 3-line, for those of you who maybe don't remember, was one of the Cold War snipers. And by default, it had a 20-round box mag, which was one of the best things about it. Because, oh wait, no, for Vanguard guns it doesn't matter. I don't know if it was a 20 round default box mag, but it was, because you don't have to pick which attachments you run, so it didn't matter. But anyway,
get 10 attachments on Vanguard guns.
Yeah, exactly. But it had a 20 round box mag, which was completely unnecessary, but it was kind of nice. You could just keep shooting without reloading. And anyway, there's a guy in a chopper far away. I kill him out of it. I get a hit marker first, and then the next shot I kill him, I guess. I had a couple clips shooting people out of helicopters, but once you see one, you see them all. But they're just deeply satisfying, yeah. And something you just are never going to see now.
Yeah, because people just don't use choppers that much now either. Yeah, that was the Volk. That's what you were using, yeah.
The Volk, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I said.
That was a weird feeling gun. I was never a fan of that one.
Wait, wasn't the Volk an AR? I don't think that was a Volk.
I think it was. Wasn't it a
with
Volk
a 64
with like the big
round drum? No, I don't think that was the Volk. The Volk was an AR. That was not a Volk. I don't know what it was, but it was an SMG. It wasn't a Volk. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go on.
It was weird looking, but anyways. Yeah, those snipers were just so unsatisfying. I couldn't get into the Vanguard snipers at all. I just stopped sniping at that point, actually, pretty much, because I couldn't get into them. I didn't like them.
Yeah.
Like the sound of a gun really plays into how well it feels. And they all sounded like dog shit. They all sounded the same. They had like no audio to them. Like it actually sounded like it was bugged. It was like,
yeah.
It's just nothing behind it, just boring shit audio. So I never liked them because of that.
It was weird.
Because that was probably at the point where they changed the snipers, so like Swiss didn't one shot at all ranges, and then they ended up tweaking them a lot. And at some point, I think the Swiss could one shot down to 70 meters, maybe.
Something
they made it,
pretty
and I would kind
far.
of use it.
Yeah.
I would kind of use it at that point, just because it was fun and I still wanted to use it. But it was pretty unviable on Caldera for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So
but, all right.
Anyway,
moving on.
Next one. Here we go.
This is early on, by the way. Raz and I used to dual cam stream.
Yeah, this is very early. Yeah.
This is like year one. We used to
do
the pod. We would do the pod. We would immediately, one of us would stream the pod. We would raid the other person's Twitch channel, who would start streaming gameplay, and we'd play for a couple hours. And we would do dual cam, so people could see both of us.
And Tanner's using a fucking HDR. So.
That's how you know this is early on. I'm using an HDR, yeah.
Such a good spot. Make this a close range.
This is the Mac. This isn't that early on. Man.
Oh, I guess so.
I don't know why I was using HDR.
Got him. Ooh. Oh my god, I'm insane.
So again,
those were so fun, dude.
That was another just snipe directly out of the chopper. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
HDR and a Mac 10.
One. Even the HDR, that ADS fast. Did you notice that?
That was faster than some other snipers.
Yeah, that was something happened at some point in Verdansk with the snipers, and I think they tweaked them so there was some sort of faster HDR build. So I think that's why I was trying it, if I remember correctly. They had done a bunch of tweaks to it, and it felt a lot better. Did they make it so
lasers increased ADS speed? I don't know if they did that for the MW19 guns, but I know that was a change they made to Cold War guns. Is they said, if you run this laser, we're going to make it increase your ADS speed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. No, actually, that did ADS faster, by the way, than meta AR builds in Warzone 2. Like, actually.
Yeah.
Faster than a Kastov 7.62, than a Cronin, than a meta RPK. That's how fast that ADS. And back then, we thought that was slow. That's how much they killed all the
by comparison.
It was,
Yeah, exactly.
And that was probably, 100 milliseconds slower than a Swiss or car, at least?
Yeah.
And it didn't seem that way.
Yeah, maybe about 100. Yeah. And then another thing that I think I wrote down, but we'll just talk about it now, is the Mac 10. That was like the first overpowered Cold War gun. Was the Mac 10.
That was a satisfying SMG. Really
It was
satisfying.
a fun little gun. And for those of you who don't remember, I almost forgot too. One thing that was very fucking jarring about the integration of Cold War guns into Warzone is that most of them just were not the same gun as they are in Cold War. So like a Cold War Mac 10 had a lot of recoil, But in Warzone, you could use the same attachments and it wouldn't move at all. It was just a different gun. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, in Warzone, like you can't learn anything about how good a gun is in Warzone from playing Cold War multiplayer. You have no idea. Because like the MAC-10 was one of them that was really obvious. Like it had so much more recoil in multiplayer. There was another one too. I think it was maybe the Cold War AK, where it's like it had a ton of recoil. Maybe it wasn't the AK. I'm not sure. But there was definitely an AR that had like unusable amounts of recoil in multi, but it was totally good in Warzone. It was hilarious.
It's because they were totally different feeling games. Cold War felt like such a not finished, incomplete Treyarch game, and then Warzone felt like MW19 did, which was really smooth at the time. So yeah, that was weird when those guns came over. Actually, another thing about the MAC-10, it had a blueprint that had much better irons. Do you remember that? So the default MAC-10 no one used because the irons were thicker. And it would I think it made it a little bit harder to track people because you would kind of lose them because the iron was probably 2 or 3 times as wide. And then there was that, whatever that blueprint was called.
I even remember what it looked like. It was like black and gold. It was like black with gold trim. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And everyone used that. You barely ever saw a default MAC-10. I don't remember how you got that blueprint, if it was just like Battle Pass or something.
I think it was something like that because it was so common.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
And you just had to use that one. But those were fun builds, especially like with the Mac. I remember there were a lot of different builds people would run. A lot of people would run like no stock. I think in that clip I was running the stock that gave you like better strafe speed or something, but there were many different MAC-10 builds that were viable. That was always a
number of them.
That was always a fun meta, the MAC-10.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
was honestly probably,
and there were a couple
one of my
different
favorite
builds for the MAC-10
SMG metas in the Verdansk era, honestly. It was very satisfying.
The gallantry is what it was called. Yeah. Gallantry blueprint.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. Which is what I said. So yeah. Great little gun. Great little meta.
Right.
I do wonder why you're using an HDR there, but anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. I was bored of shitting on kids in the Swiss.
Shoot that guy, man. Shoot him. Holy shit.
He's dead.
Yep. Yeah, he was trying to sign me out of the air.
Holy shit, he's dead, so. Another floater down. Dude, I'm cheating. I cheated.
Stop.
I'm cheating, dude.
Did you cheat?
I missed him when he's down, yeah.
I cheated.
Oh my god, dude.
Dude, I cheated, man. Holy fuck.
Holy shit. I done went and cheated. Someone clip the last just 5.
No, no one will clip.
No shot, dude. No shot, man.
That may be your best Warzone clip ever.
It's up there for sure.
That was a lot of snipes.
A lot of little snipes,
You never had to think about reloading, by the way. A reload never crossed your mind with a 20 round fucking triple drum magazine 3-line rifle.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a clip of Caldera. Tanner and I were playing duos for whatever reason. And we're both on a rooftop by the airfield or whatever. And it's just a shooting gallery. And I'm just fucking ready to party. And I was just fucking kids up. Yeah. I got like 5 snipes right there.
They were all moving too. None of those people were standing still. They were floating. They were sprinting. That Warzone 1 bullet velocity, man. You probably had 2,000 velocity there.
Yeah, I did be having some velocity. It made it pretty easy to do. And having a 20-round mag helped too. Because like you said, I didn't have to reload. Like I just saw the next guy. I could shoot at him. But that's a fan favorite because I, of course, say I cheated, which is an absurd thing to say. Yeah, you would say I'm cheating. That's what you would say. Yeah. You wouldn't say I cheated. It doesn't make sense.
I cheated.
That was a fan favorite for that reason. But yeah, it was just a ton of fucking snipes. And
you were like surprising yourself even there. You're like,
yeah, that's why I said I cheat. That's why I exclaimed I cheated because I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, that was a fun and exciting little clip there. What was I gonna say?
Perfectly capped by you missing the guy who's standing still downed, by the way, just laying on the ground. You missed him. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how I was in Warzone 1 too. You hit the harder shots and then you don't hit the guy standing still. It's very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's another thing with like one shot down snipers is that is possible. And that just wouldn't be possible with like a 2-shot. Like in Warzone 2, that's just not possible. Either because I'm using explosive ammo because I'm playing pubs mods for some reason because I hate myself, and then I would miss every bullet there because it wouldn't be possible to hit someone because I don't have a trigonometry fucking degree or whatever. Or I'm not using explosive rounds and then I hit all the shots, but it doesn't matter. They just land and plate. So, yeah.
I think that optic you're using too was the variable zoom optic. That was the one everyone would run on the Vanguard ARs. I'm pretty sure that was the 3-6, wasn't it?
Oh,
which was interesting
maybe.
about that too, is because you could use that in many different situations because of the that. But even like standing strafing speed, the optic doesn't sway very much. The ADS movement speed was good. That reticle was just so clean, just a thin line and a thin line, and that's it. Nothing in the middle, across. Very clean. Yeah. Just simply across.
Yeah.
That was a fun area to fight in Caldera. That building could be very fun to shoot people out of.
Yeah.
Try to shoot them as they tried to take off in airplanes.
And there's that balloon kind of close to there.
Yep.
If you go like more toward the coast.
Yeah. There's the balloon right at drop spot too. The little drop spot neighborhood right there. Hit that balloon and you land on that roof. Yeah, that would usually be the strat. You go and then you land on that roof.
Probably what we did, in fact, in that clip.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, just another nice little sniping clip. Had to include it.
Just have to. A lot of sniping clips. That's interesting, huh?
Yeah, it's almost like sniping is what's fun in Warzone, and now you can't do it. Yeah.
Bring back overpowered snipers. I'm serious. I want them so overpowered. I want the whole lobby to be sniping. That would be more fun than what we have now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go.
You're not gonna do much with a ground loot EM2 and a ZRG. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Yep. 4 rounds. Yeah.
Oh fuck.
This is just not going super well.
Oh, who's this piece of shit?
Jax, you piece of shit!
Come on,
Jax, you piece of shit, dude! Oh no!
Should we tune into Jax's stream?
Yeah, of course we have to reward him for that. Yeah, let's go. Let's go take a look at Jax's broadcast here.
Let's hit live.
Just a fantastic piece of media there. So that's another, of course,
Dropshot tournament. Yeah.
That's another fan favorite clip that we had to include. That's from the Dropshot Invitational number 3. We did a custom patrons only Rebirth Island trios or something tournament, and in that clip Jax gets a down on the person we are spectating, so we don't know who it is right away. So someone downs the guy we're spectating for the Dropshot Invitational number 3, and then that person rounds the corner as he's selfing in his rose skin, of course, and starts teabagging. And then you can hear us going like, "Oh, you piece of shit! Who's doing this?" And then he throwing knife thirsts him, and we realize it's Jax. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Naturally. And
real
you know,
piece of shit.
Real piece of shit.
I love how you said we have to reward him by tuning into his stream. Because because he did something excellent, which was teabag in a tournament. That money was actually on the line. We had sponsors.
Money was on the line. Yeah.
I don't remember if Jax's team won that tournament. I think he usually did pretty well.
I think Bjorn threw. Remember?
Oh, no.
Bjorn was just like dog shit. Or he disconnected.
Well, he was 11.
Or both. Yeah.
He got put in timeout. Remember he had his PC set up in his closet? Grounded. Like literally it was in his closet.
I don't remember that, but that's hilarious.
He would stream sometimes and his whole setup was just in his closet. Which, I mean, his family's rich, so his closet's bigger than our house probably, but...
Yeah, to be clear.
Shout out to Jax for that little clip there, yeah.
Yeah, but just a great little moment of toxicity there for sure.
It'd be cool if the game was fun and like customs didn't require you to have 80 people to start a match, so we can do that again.
It's actually like 54 now or something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if we wanted to do a Warzone tournament, we couldn't get enough people to participate.
Yeah, you need more players to start Resurgence than you used to start large map, because Verdansk even was like 28, I think. I think Verdansk was like 26, 28, and wasn't Resurgence like 22? Rebirth was 22 or 24, maybe? Maybe they were both the same, but they were both in the 20s, like, I know that.
Low 20s. I think they were both like 22 or some shit, or 23. I don't know. But yeah, they were both lower than they are now. Yeah, which is a shame. But anyway.
It was also easier to do tournaments back then because no one had a job.
Yeah.
Everyone was sitting at home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Biden bucks. Yeah.
So, all right. So for this next clip, before we play it, I need to set this up. So we do a podcast also, right? So I'm not kidding. In the episode right before this stream, Tanner and I were covering the patch notes for a new season of Vanguard. And in the patch notes, they say, we have added bomber planes to regular Battle Royale on Caldera. The brand new patch. And in the podcast episode, we cover that and we say, I say, watch my first game on. I'm going to be trying to loot my loadout and I'm going to die to a bomber plane. I said that half joking in the podcast episode directly preceding this clip. Now, I want you to also keep in mind, I swear to God, this is my first game on after this patch where bomber planes got added. My first game on. And you can see in the clip, I'm capturing not a loadout, to be fair, but it is a crate. It's one of those stupid supply drop crates. So I'm trying to capture a crate. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah. You did. That's exactly what happened. You said those things, and this was the first game on. So here we go.
We've been live for 2 minutes. Cool. Tanner? You
bomber?
It.
Did you just get hit by a bomber?
We both did.
Got it.
Oh, Tanner called it.
I heard the bomb.
Tanner called it.
Yeah.
So what in fact happens is, like Tanner had said in the immediately preceding podcast episode, first game on, first crate I go for, me and L. Bomber plane comes in, drops a bomb, kills us both, and after the bomb explodes and L and I are downed, and not before, but after I'm downed and the explosion has happened, I get a notification directly on the center of my screen over my reticle, by the way.
Directly, yeah.
Enemy bomber incoming or whatever. Or bomb overhead.
Enemy bomber overhead, yeah.
Yeah. So the notification I received after I got downed to it. That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. The worst part is, well, I guess the fact that bombers existed were the worst part, but is how the planes were quiet until they were very close. Because I remember when that happened, there were some people that were trying to argue. They're like, well, you can see it on your mini-map the whole time. You're correct. No one's looking at their mini-map like that when you're capturing something and picking up the loot, and you also don't hear anything. Why would I think to look at my mini-map when I'm just like looting something? You don't hear anything. So you see the little red plane coming in. You don't hear the sound of the plane until 200 milliseconds before it's dropping the bomb. So even then, you wouldn't, even if you heard the plane, you're like, oh shit, I need to run, you would have still been dead to the bombs. Because it's just,
for sure.
The planes should have been so fucking loud that you could hear it from 3 POIs away. And then you hear the bombs dropping again, too late at that point to even react, and then you're just immediately downed. Yeah. So this had to have been like season 3, season 4 of Caldera. This is when it started to all go downhill. This is when Ted was having way too many late night shower thoughts, and this was one of them.
A lot of shower thoughts. Yeah, for sure. And by the way, on the mini-map point, the mini-map was designed for fucking multiplayer. So like by the time you see the plane on your mini-map, it is far too late for you to do shit. Like if I noticed it right away when it appeared on my mini-map, it's like my mini-map's 30 meters or whatever. It's not like, and planes move faster than I do. So it just wouldn't have mattered anyway. Yeah. So I couldn't believe it. I thought it was hilarious. First game on, yeah. I thought that was hilarious like the next day. But you can see there I'm not laughing. I'm annoyed because I'm like, really? Like we finally load into a game. We're probably update required restart. And then I couldn't form the party. So someone had to get off and restart their game. Someone had to change their NAT type. And then we finally load into a game. We finally go to the fucking thing. And then boom, die to a bomber. Nothing I can do about it. Yeah. Just a miserable dog shit trash game. That isn't good. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, great little clip there though. In hindsight, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It was hilarious at the time. Moving on.
Ooh,
a little Swiss again.
Oh my god, I shit on
We're
that guy
playing
over here.
Teammates in the gulag. If they survive, they can redeploy.
Holy six! Oh no. In the building. They're rats. They're fucking rats.
Dude, in the kill cam, you see him at the end in the kill cam. He's just crouched right next to the door waiting for you.
Two of them in that room, it looked like, crouched with Cali sticks out. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that clip, Tanner, we're playing on Verdansk, we're playing quads. Tanner snipes some kid, and then he runs into a building to plate up, and he opens a door, and surprise, there's a guy there in an all-black skin with Cali sticks, and Tanner can't do anything about it. He just gets the fuck beaten out of him, and then he dies. And
They
then
were
he
so
screams
fast,
Cali
and
sticks.
they were 2-3 hit down. It didn't matter. However fast you swung, I think a 2 or 3 hit would be the exact same time to kill, basically. And they lock onto you.
Yeah. If they made contact, you couldn't. Your TTK wouldn't be fast enough. It's just not possible. Yeah.
Again,
and the
they
problem
play-tested the
too.
game.
Yeah, play tested by the way. The problem also is that with melee weapons like Cali sticks, you also moved at 100,000% movement speed of anyone using a gun. So like, even if that guy wasn't right next to Tanner when he opened the door, Tanner's still probably dead if he's like 10 meters away, because the guy would just the flash up to you and just beat the fuck out of you, and you would get insane aim punch. So even if you were like landing all the bullets before he gets to you, as soon as he hits you once, your fucking reticle is aiming at the ceiling, and you're not landing any other follow-up shots. So really all they had to do with a melee weapon was hit you one time, and there'd be so much aim punch you just couldn't do anything about it. You were just dead.
Yeah, if he had been sitting in the far corner of the room, he would have still closed the gap and killed me.
For sure.
I would have done more damage to him. But that whole clip there, from the quick ADS Swiss, one tap down, to pushing in the building, and did you notice the ADS speed on that XM4 I was using? Again, faster than Warzone 2 SMG ADS times. Just immediate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, like 2 quick times there. It was so fast. But yeah, just great little clip of... That was the XM4 strafe build, I'm pretty sure. There was a build where you could strafe crazy
I remember
speeds.
that.
Didn't that stock increase your strafe speed by like 30 or 40%? It was very,
something
very fast.
silly. It was goofy. Yeah. I remember that being a popular build for a while.
You had to, like, I didn't like using the irons, but it was worth it for that specific build, I remember. Because the XM4 irons were not good. It was hard to track people with. But you had to run it basically to get that strafe speed build right there.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just to remind everyone, melee weapons were kind of always a problem in Warzone 1 also.
And they always will be. Stop adding them into the game.
Yeah, stop adding them for sure. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on.
Oh, hell again. I know Dell's going to do stupid.
I'm gonna try to put the trophy on.
And you bitch! I put the oh, god damn it. Don't get out now! Oh,
well,
god,
you were
I'm
stuck!
trying to give you cover. Oh god. Oh god.
This is amazing.
This was all your fault entirely.
I thought you were stuck.
Yeah. Really driving.
Are you gonna blow?
Oh, I didn't know it was disabled. Did not know that car was gonna blow up. Fuck, man. Dude,
That's a L.
Literally all your fault. I want you to know that. So yeah, I kept that clip long because at the end I say unironically, which I stand by the way, literally all your fault, L. So here's what happens. L and I are playing duos on Verdansk. I'm driving a car. We need to get into zone. And we are at, oh God, what was that part of the map called?
Port.
Port, yeah, we're at Port.
Just west of Port, yeah.
So I'm in a car. I drive by L. L gets in the car. We need to drive quickly into zone. We're totally fine as long as we're in a car. L gets in the car. I drive 10 meters. I hit a road bump momentarily, but I'm still in motion. L gets out of the car. I have to stop to pick him up. L, get in the car, man. because now he's getting shot at. And then he's like, oh, I thought you were stuck. So then I try to give him cover with the car. As soon as he's behind the car where he's in cover, he gets downed. Sick timing. And then I eventually die, and it's all L's fault. That's one clip you should probably watch. And I only showcase that. There's no narrative here. There's nothing to talk about other than fuck L. And the reason I died in that game was L's fault. That's the only reason I've included that clip.
How much higher would our Verdansk win percentage have been if we didn't play with L?
Great question.
10% high. We'd probably be number one and two in the world.
It probably would have sparked a series of events that would have led us to have been at the London World Series of Warzone. But L
he was
specifically deprived us of that.
He was always doing something dumb. Like, instead of just getting in the car, that was the classic dumb shit super sweat move. I'm going to jump on top of it. I'm going to stand on top of the car.
Yep.
So, yeah, shout out to L again.
Yeah, just get in the car, buckle your seatbelt, and shut the fuck up, L.
The other great part there, as you're going to the gulag, L is, of course, already full dead. He had already lost his gulag.
Correct.
Because he was dead at that point. And then he just caused, fuck L.
Yeah, it caused us both to die. So shout out to L.
I hope he listens to this episode.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But again, you see us using vehicles there to get into zone. You wouldn't see that on Moz.
A lot of it from the car snipes, the shooting people out of helis.
Using it as cover too. Around. That's another strat. And I remember we talked about this. This is especially good with Berthas because they had so much health. Is one thing that was nice about always having vehicles or having vehicles be relevant is like you could use them as mobile pieces of cover, which was really cool. So like you would notice, especially like Pieman and shit, really good players would do this a lot. They would use vehicles, drive around. Let's say you're in the middle of a ravine with no fucking cover. Well, if you have a car, you can get out of it and like head glitch the hood of it or something. And like that's like kind of a skill gap, and it's an interesting little dynamic. And that's just not relevant because now no one drives cars. So there's just another little piece, I guess, to make something out of that. But anyway, let's move on to the next one.
All right.
Oh, we got the FFAR.
Yep, I see a Glenn.
In the car.
Did I miss? I missed, huh? Did I miss?
What? What's to the right? To the right here.
Got him.
Alright, I'm resable.
You're good. Sit tight. Got your finish?
Yeah, that was a good example right there. I'm using the FFAR in the Car 98. It starts with me trying to throw a trophy system on the Bertha. Missed, of course, like always, right? You can't land them on there. That was the meta back then, remember? Because people would, fire rocket launchers or whatever at it, and throw explosives. Yeah. And that would eat a lot of them. So you'd always drive around with trophy system on your vehicle, always, even choppers and everything. But so that clip, we start getting shot at. I'm getting hit. I'm getting flinched. And there was such little flinch back then, I was able to look right, ADS with my Car 98, jump, and headshot the guy as I'm getting hit at the same time.
Yep.
So that clip is a great example of how sniping, again, was at that point. Very little flinch. Did that kind of make sniping broken a little bit more? But yeah, again, the game was a hell of a lot more fun back then.
And certain guns, to be clear, had more flinch than others, even back then. Like, because again, you were using the car. So like, that's the best one-shot sniper to be getting shot at and try to get a headshot with was the car. Like that had like the least flinch probably of all of them. But yeah, it wasn't easy. It was easier to hit a headshot if you weren't getting flinch, but it was at least possible to do.
Yeah.
And now it's just simply not possible. And you could argue it shouldn't be possible. Maybe that was an example of a gun that's a little overpowered, which again, I've always stood by. The car was overpowered, but not sniping in general. Like you can't say sniping is overpowered just because the car was. Nerf the car. Give it more flinch if you want, or whatever. You could do a million things to it, which we used to talk about a lot. Because we agreed the car was overpowered, even at the time. But still, it was nice to be able to use them, and including through flinch, which that's a great example of.
Yep.
So.
All right, here we go.
Let's move on.
Someone's gonna die to this. Someone's gonna die to this box.
Say something nice to me, and I'll stop.
Bitch boy. No, I'll just go with the loadout.
Someone's gonna die to this box.
I'm so glad it happened. Oh no.
Thanks for the satchel, L.
Oh, L. My favorite line there.
Dumb shit, huh?
Yeah, I got a lot, I guess. I sorted my Twitch clips by views, so I guess people love watching L suffer. That's why a lot of them are in here. But yeah, we're playing quads on Caldera, and some of you may remember it was possible to put a loadout crate in the bed of a Bertha. So I'm driving a Bertha with our loadout in it, and I am I'm holding it hostage for all of my teammates, and I told them, you can hear me say something nice about me, and I'll put the loadout down so you guys can get your loadout. So L is trying to get, because you couldn't use the loadout if it was in motion. So if it was in the bed of your truck, your teammates couldn't hit it. So I was I was holding it hostage. So L, of course, is one of the 4 people or one of the 3 people I'm playing with, and he's trying to hit it anyway, knowing that he should know that it's not possible. And it lands on him and he dies, and we all start laughing at him. Not with him, but at him. And then Tanner says my favorite line in that whole clip, which is, thanks for the satchel, L. Because as you guys may remember, satchels were what allowed your max plate capacity to be 8 reserve instead of just 5 reserve, and they were very important. So everyone would want a satchel, and L had one, Tanner didn't, and then Tanner had one and L didn't. So yeah, just again, not much of a point there, but
when you asked us to say something nice about you, I just left because I wasn't gonna do that. I would rather just lose the game than say anything nice about you.
Yeah, you said said something. You're like, oh, I'll just get.
I said, oh, I'll just get the other loadout then, and I did jump out and I started running away to grab the further loadout. Yeah. So yeah, fuck L.
Yeah, fuck L, indeed, for sure. So anyway, yeah, not much else to say. Let's move on.
UAV overhead.
This is gonna kill me, by the way. This is absolutely killing me.
This is Striker 3-1. Good copy. Strike
Oh my god.
This fucking game. Holy shit.
Impact, no joy.
Oh my god. Oh, I died 2 times.
Yep. So another classic clip there. Yeah. So in this clip, we're playing quads. Tanner's the last one alive. He's getting pushed. He's in a building in the corner, at least 10 meters away from the closest door, and he calls a precision airstrike on his own building. The purpose of that, obviously, is to keep the people pushing him away from the building and maybe get a down or 2 as they try to come into his building.
And there were people above me too. That's why I wasn't going upstairs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And you hear Tanner say, once he calls it and he's waiting for the airstrike, this is going to kill me, watch. And guess what happened? It killed him. Guess who it didn't kill, by the way? The other people that were enemies that were also in his building.
Anyone, yeah, and also outside of the building, yeah.
Yeah, just makes no sense.
Because that was like the only thing I could do. If I pushed out, there's a team, I'm probably going to die. If I go upstairs, I'm probably dead too, because I'm the last one alive. So the airstrike was like the last thing, and I just knew I'd been airstriked, through a wall in houses probably 250 times up until that point. So I'm like, whatever. Oh yeah. I have to just try it. Maybe hey, it's totally random, so maybe this time I just won't die. I did. So pretty cool. That got pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Happening time and time again. So
yeah,
cool.
For sure. All right. Let's go on to the next one.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Yeah, right in front of you, past the Bertha, that piece of cover. No one else can drop out.
The old armored Bertha meta, man.
The classic armored Bertha, yeah.
So that must have been pretty soon after they added them in, right?
Yeah.
You can immediately seat swap. So that was Raz streaming, spectating me. I'm driving the Bertha. I start getting shot at. Immediately seat swap, snap on the guy with the MG. That was also back when the MGs were really good, right? They killed very fast. At one point, they nerfed the hell out of them, and they ended up being pretty bad. which is good. I mean, they balance them basically. But that was when they were broken as hell, and I just immediately aimed on the guy and just gunned him down as he was trying to shoot me. That's a mistake you would make. If you saw an armored Bertha, just hide.
Just get the fuck out of there.
Just hide. And they were so easy to get because they added a contract in where you would go and blow up a stationary vehicle.
Sabotage.
And an armored Bertha would drop from the sky. I remember when they added this contract and we were like, huh, how is this going to work? Is this going to put it on like a moving vehicle? Are we going to have to chase a player's vehicle around the map? Is it going to put it on just a vehicle sitting there? Because like if it just puts it on any random vehicle close to you, that's way too easy to complete. Of course, that's what happened. You would pick up a sabotage contract. Sometimes it would actually be 50, 60 meters from you. You would destroy the vehicle. You would get cash. You would get a bonus for your next... for your next, what is it called? I can't think of the term.
The multiplier?
Contract bonus, I guess. Yeah, like the contract. So you would get that, and then it would drop an armored Bertha right there.
Yep.
For blowing up a stationary vehicle, you could be in the corner of the map with no one within 500 meters of you, and you blow up a stationary vehicle.
And usually you were, yeah.
Yeah, you always, and then you'd get an armored Bertha. That was so broken. That was called the sabotage contract in Caldera. That was another one. That was also around the time probably of the turning point when Timmy Timmons turned Warzone more into Fortnite with a lot of dumb shit like that. So.
Yep. Yeah, that was a not a good meta. I also remember that like right when this got added, I remember specifically, it stands out to me, a game of like trios or quads I was playing with. I think it was like Jax, L, and Jake or something. But we were like, okay, armored Berthas exist. We should all get in one and just drive around seat swapping. Because why are we going to play quads like normally, like using our fucking guns like idiots? Yeah. So we all had our own armored Bertha and we won a game easily just driving around seat swapping. And when you swapped seats, it was instant. There were only 2 seats, so it was always to the seat you want to go to. And when you're in the Bertha driving, you don't take much damage because it's just like a regular Bertha like we talked about earlier. People are fucking mag dumping the window. It's like you take like 5% of the damage or whatever. And then you instantly seat swap to that MG and just delete people. There's no outplay. Like Tanner said, there's no outplay. There's nothing you could do. You just have to run away. So there are 4 people on the same team with 4 Berthas driving around seat swapping. There's just nothing you can do. So it was really fucking dumb, and I had to include that clip, And also, kind of reminds me, just in general, seat swapping. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but again, when vehicles were relevant, seat swapping was like a real skill that people would use. Again, I'll reference Pieman. He would drive around in like a car, and he would just like drive up to somebody, swap seats, fucking quick scope the guy while the car is rolling, and then swap seats right back to the driver's seat again. Like, it was a very common strat. I thought the seat swapping shit was kind of cheesy and dumb. I'm not blaming people who did it because it was an effective strategy. I'm blaming the devs. There should have been some kind of delay or something. It was really overpowered. But that's just not a problem anymore in Warzone 2, because even though the seat swap is still instant, no one uses vehicles once again. So that whole
and you can't
dimension,
one-shot, headshot.
Well, that too, But
that's because Pieman still does it, but it's not as satisfying because you don't ever get a one shot.
Yeah, I mean outside of solos, I guess I need to clarify that. It's just not like it's another dimension of the game that's just not relevant anymore. But
yeah, and it was was something kind of broken having the ability to do that, but no one was doing it. The only people doing it were really good and smart players.
For sure.
Like I had never even usually thought to do it. I remember Jake would do it quite a bit, and it would work out really well.
Yeah.
But like most of the time I wouldn't even think to do it. So yeah. Ready?
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one.
Right. I killed 2. I pulled 2.
God, just listen to those hit markers.
Yep.
Down.
Gallantry.
Yep, there's a blueprint. See up in those iron bars.
Yeah. You see the name of it in the bottom right too.
Wow.
I got him.
So that
6 times
is
sniper
a
scope.
Classic clip. Yeah, that is early on in the integration. I don't remember what was overpowered first. It was the M16 or the AUG. Remember the AUG burst fire?
They were both around the same time. Stopping power too. That was the other thing with that MAC-10. Yeah. They were both around the same time. I want to say the AUG was first, maybe, but they were very similar time.
They were back to back. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
They were literally back to back. But yeah, they were both like two burst fire guns that you put the axial arms 3X on. But this was before they reworked the axial arms 3X. So it was actually, even though that's what it said, it was an axial arms 12X. So you had this gun, you had this M16 that would like full people in 2 bursts that are fully plated. It zoomed in as much as a Vanguard AR, had perfectly manageable recoil, and like a 60 round mag also. It was insanely overpowered. It did a ton of damage. And in that clip, Tanner's using the M16 with a MAC-10 as a secondary. And there's a team of 4 driving by in a Jeep. And he's
vehicle again, yeah.
Yeah, another vehicle, exactly. Yeah, you'll notice how many fucking vehicles are in these clips. And he's just like downing most of them and just doing a fuck ton of damage to the whole shindig. And then when he switches to his MAC-10, you can see the number of ammo he has is in a bright orange color, signifying that he was using stopping power rounds, which was in Warzone, by the way. Yep. So we had stopping power and we had the M16, which was a formative meta. It was a very, very overpowered gun, and in no small part due to that scope. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 shots to kill. So like little more than 1 burst.
Yeah, depended on the where you hit them. But that's another thing too with the M16 and the AUG. It's gonna burst up. So like if you manage to aim like center chest, you're probably getting a headshot in there, because with the recoil of the burst, like you just get a free headshot and then it's like 4 bullets to kill. So it was like super fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super gross.
Just no recoil too on that burst. It was all like something different you'll see too is you just don't have that horizontal recoil that we have a lot of now in MW2 Warzone 2. The guns, when they had recoil, it was mostly just like vertical a little bit. So it was very easy to control that way, because horizontal recoil is extremely difficult to use. This is why we've been saying since Warzone 2 came out, everyone always uses certain muzzle devices that we don't use, because horizontal recoil for us, we think is so much more important. So that's why we always use those. Like back then that just didn't exist, but now the guns bounce so much side to side. They're very annoying to use because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was M16 meta, probably my favorite overpowered Warzone 1 meta. DMR was obviously way better and way more insane, but M16 was just different because it was burst. You had that sniper scope, which made it fun. DMR was so broken that because I would also get 3-shotted from like 250 meters, it was too broken and not fun. M16 meta though, probably my favorite. Yeah.
That was that was my big complaint with the DMR is you couldn't use vehicles, and hey, spoil it, guess what happened? It made Warzone a lot more fucking boring. Because if you took any vehicle, including a Bertha, and tried to like cross an open space and you were getting shot by 3 or 4 DMRs, your car would blow up inside of like 3 Mississippis. It was that much damage. So you couldn't even drive. It was like so dumb. Yeah, that was an absurd meta.
Yeah, but M16 probably my most fun overpowered meta, at least from Warzone, I think. Yeah. Like, most people would probably say the FFAR or something, which was good, very good, too good for a long time, but M16 was extremely satisfying. I do, having those scopes at the time, we thought it was overpowered. But looking back, I really like that those scopes zoomed that much, actually. And then, later in Vanguard, we ended up getting the same thing, which was variable zoom, zoomed even further than the axial did right there when it was broken. And then the guns still have less recoil than what we had in Verdansk. I actually like that zoom level on this scope right there. That was like perfect. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good amount of zoom for BR, obviously. But yeah, that was a solid little meta. Yeah, that and the AUG, which felt pretty similar. least from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I remember I never liked the AUG as much. I think the recoil pattern was a little bit.
It was definitely
different.
Yeah,
I think the fire rate too was weird. Like you couldn't burst as quickly again, or there was just something I personally didn't like about it nearly as much as the M16.
Yeah, I don't remember the differences too much, but anyway.
All right, here we go.
Yep, let's move on to this next one.
I do it.
Vehicle's coming.
Do you believe? Do you believe, boys?
Yeah.
What a god!
It's on demon time, dude. Let's go.
Oh my god. Any clippers?
Drunk ass hell.
Holy fucking shit. Oh my goodness, dude.
So that was just a fun little clip of me. We're playing trios. It's late game, and I just came back from Gulag or something because all I have is a Diamatti, a single Diamatti, not a loadout one. It's like a ground loot Diamatti, and I also have a C4. And I see on my mini map, like every Warzone clip we have, probably there's a car driving toward me, and then I also see a floater coming in at about the same time. So you might have heard me say, "Do you believe?" Chat. So my plan was, this car is driving right at me, so I'm going to throw a C4. I'm going to let the car drive over it. I'm going to blow up the C4, and I'm going to use the Diamatti to kill the guy floating. And that's exactly what I did. I threw the C4. It's like a very cutesy little play that I would never normally try, but that was my only play there.
I had great timing.
Yeah.
Do you think that guy that you killed, the Diamatti, was he on their team and landing there to like try to get picked up? I wonder if it was a different team.
That's a solid question. I feel like he probably was on the same team because you wouldn't want to float into a vehicle that's not like a teammate's, which is what he did. So yeah, they probably were on the same team.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
that was the original lethal meta, C4.
Yeah,
dude. How far you used to throw those things?
True. Before they nerfed the throw distance and speed. Yeah.
And then there was a delay to when you could blow it up even. They added at some point.
Yeah.
They didn't do all of that at once, I don't think, but then they gutted it, which it was fun using C4s, but yeah, that was a pretty broken lethal. I mean, you could be on the ground and like, the classic Verdansk houses, buildings that were like 2 stories and they had a little roof. You easily get that up on the roof and then kill a team on the roof. You could throw them entirely too far.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they toss so fast at immediate. I think you could blow it up before it even hit the ground even.
You for sure could. That's what usually what you would do.
Like even in that clip, you threw it and it was on the ground almost immediately. You could have even blown that up before it even hit the ground right there.
Yes. 100%.
And I don't think that's how they work now in like Warzone 2, MW 2. I think it has to be on the ground, and then there's like, I'm not kidding, a 500 millisecond delay at least before you could blow it up. It takes a long ass time.
Yeah. They're pretty dog shit now. Yeah, they were overpowered, like you said, to be clear, but I wish there was some middle ground in this context. But anyway, yeah. No real reason to include that clip other than L super drunk. And he's dead, by the way. He's spectating me. That's why he's delayed. Yeah. And yeah, I was on demon time. I couldn't believe that play worked.
The C4 is the great part, yeah.
C4 and then the Diamatti to just clean up. Yeah. But anyway.
I'm not even sure a C4 in Warzone 2 would destroy a vehicle. It probably doesn't.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good ass question.
All of these things back then, it's all interesting because so many of them we would consider overpowered, but like at this point, it was just fun though, too. It was fun having that shit.
Yeah.
It's slow, it's boring, the gun meta is like too balanced now. They all feel the same. It's exactly what happened at the end of Caldera. It just got boring because whatever.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep. Oh.
Stunned him twice.
Gallo. Look at that range on that Gallo.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad range.
Yeah.
So that's a clip of
quick
Verdansk.
Little quick scope with the Swiss again.
Yeah.
I'm the Swiss demon. A little quick scope from, I don't know, what was that guy? 10 meters maybe? 8 meters, something like that.
Like 8.
He jumped, quick scope, ADS, snap on his little tiny head, immediate down. His teammate starts running up, probably 15 meters away. I get 4 hit markers with a shotgun, and he's dead. Yeah, people got pissed at that shotgun. I remember
the Gallo
a lot
made
of
people
angry Defcoms at that one.
Yeah,
it had great mobility. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Interestingly, was not meta for long. That was one of the guns they nerfed very quickly. Was the Gallo?
Yeah,
because they're allergic to fun, I guess. Yeah, but yeah. A lot of people forget about the Gallo, which is like a, you know, it was a semi-auto, or was it pump?
It was semi-auto.
Okay, yeah, semi-auto.
That's why I was barking there. Yeah.
12 gauge shotgun, and it did well. Yeah, really fast movement speed too. Yeah, that's the thing. Because like, unlike like the Street Sweeper or the Jack 12, which had miserable movement speed, the Gallo you could zoom with it, and it had decent enough range. So yeah, it was solid little gun.
Another thing you notice there is how the colors look so weird in that clip, and it's because in Verdansk you were forced to use NVIDIA control panel settings.
The filters,
it wasn't control panel. NVIDIA filters to try to see anything, and you still couldn't. And the visibility with the highest visibility filters in the game, it's still worse than how Warzone 2 is. Yeah, because the lighting was so dog shit, the fog, the haze. It was really bad. I will forever stand on this. Verdansk 84 had the worst visibility we've seen in Warzone.
Yeah.
Worse than every other map, everything.
100%.
I still people that say Caldera had worse visibility just lie. Yeah, they just lie. Verdansk 84 is the worst. You couldn't look east on the map without having the sun in your eye, so...
Yeah, not to say Caldera was good, because it wasn't, but Verdansk was worse.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think in Caldera, didn't we not even end up running filters at some point? I don't think we
I ended up turning them off. Yeah, because it was way brighter.
Only Verdansk everyone ran them.
Yeah, Caldera was way brighter, and it had way more saturation by default than Verdansk. So the filters were just
had
way
dark
too
shadows.
Much.
That was the issue with that map too. Really dark shadows.
Yeah, and a lot of them.
Yeah.
All
right, moving on.
Yep.
Never get.
Good to go.
Oh, he's fucking nasty.
L's drunk again, of course. Yeah.
And dead again. Full
and
dead
again,
by the way.
Of course. Yeah. So
yeah. Sniping,
clip,
man.
Just sniping. Yeah, we're playing quads. Tanner's the last one alive. He's driving around in a Bertha with a trophy on top. He's got a Car 98 in his hand, and someone's shooting him from the top of fire at airport. And exactly like I was just talking about, by the way, Tanner angles the car such that the driver's seat is facing opposite, away from the fire station, the guy shooting at him. So he angles the car correctly, gets out so that he has full cover behind the Bertha, and then uses that to jump, shoot, headshot the guy, and we're chilling.
Yeah.
And just, I already talked about this, but like being able to use, having vehicles and therefore giving him that play is like super interesting. We just don't have that now. Not to mention jump sniping someone. That's never happening in Warzone 2. So just a lot of things that are impossible now. But
yeah, I do one little jump there to kind of get visual to see where he's at. Then I just immediately, I hit the ground, jump again, hit him with the headshot. I mean, fast ADS, using the car for cover, one-shot headshots, insane bullet velocity, just all of it. Very fun to use. I mean, I've had maybe one clip that didn't involve sniping in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of just the trend here.
Yep, because sniping was fun and exciting.
Made Warzone 1 Verdansk fun, yeah.
And it was the great equalizer for those of us using a keyboard and a mouse to play the game.
Yeah. Jason says, "Man, sniping was the shit. Might set one up tonight with high velocity. Don't. You'll end up crying actually because you'll realize how bad it still
sad.
Is.
Yeah, you can't one-shot headshot anymore with a high velocity sniper, man. It's the end of an era, and supposedly we're getting it back, but we'll see. Let's move on.
God, I hope so. This is great. This is very early on in Verdansk.
This is super early, yeah.
A few months in.
Let me get a gun! You fucking dick.
I've got you.
Yep. Oh my god, this game is such dog shit. I was trying to pick up a gun for 10 seconds You were 6 feet away, and all it would do is fucking revive you.
I mean, I'm not even looking at him. So we're in a building. Raz gets down to some guy. I down him with my pistol. I'm staring at the gun and the guy's body. I'm staring at it, right? Raz is behind me, and it's still giving me the press F to revive. I'm looking the opposite direction. He's 2 to 3 meters behind me. I'm trying to pick up anything off this person I just killed, and I just can't. I try 3 times. It starts reviving Raz every single time. Every single time. So
and I'm
like,
crawling away the whole time.
Yeah. You are. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. I guess I'll just revive you. Start reviving him. Know what else I didn't notice? So we watched that. That guy that ran in had no footstep audio. He's probably using dead silence or something. Or it's just the same shit audio we've always had in Warzone. Probably dead silence, though. Yeah, just comes in, kills me.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened all throughout Warzone 1. It still happens in this game, I feel. Not as bad, though. Warzone 1, I remember pulling a vehicle up. If you would get your vehicle too close to a buy station, you would be staring at the buy station. You would press F, assuming you're interacting with it because you're staring at it, and your vehicle is a few meters behind you, and you would hop in the driver's seat of the vehicle. This would happen all the time. You could not park vehicles close to a buy station or to your loadout because you would accidentally interact with the wrong thing that you are not staring at whatsoever. If I'm not staring at a car, I don't want to get in it, probably, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Let's figure that out, devs.
Yeah, that happened all the time. Dude, I forgot about that buy station thing. You would actually, once you played enough, you would realize, okay, I just can't get out of the car right next to the buy station. I need to park a solid 10 meters away so that I don't have to put up with this. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with like dead bodies, everything, to pick up loot, because if you press the interact button, you would always just get in the vehicle.
Yeah, it just like prioritized certain things so fucking heavily that it just didn't make any sense or work as intended. Yeah. Pretty dog shit. But anyway, that's it. Yeah, that's the earliest clip we have in here. That's like Warzone probably like just came out. I'm level like 130.
I think there was a date on that. I think that was like 3 months into it.
Yeah, really early.
But that was even back when I was using independent ADS, which meant that's what it's called, right? Where you would zoom in and it would zoom in like further. Basically, you got extra zoom. I think it was independent.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So like, when you had ADS, your whole screen would zoom, which actually was honestly nice for Warzone. But I ended up just getting off of it because then you kind of have like different sensitivity when you're ADS'd and then not ADS'd.
Correct, because the other option is called relative, which means it makes it so that it equalizes your ADS by not zooming you in as much, or your field of view.
And no one uses independent anymore, but early on in NW19, a lot of the super sweats would use it. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay. I think you even used it for a period of time in multiplayer because I remember especially TGD.
Yes, the gaming definition used it, and that's where I got the idea. And I think I did even ask him about it when we had him on. Shout out to TGD, friend of the pod, by the way. I was like, why do you use this or whatever? And then I was like, you know what? I'll try it. He's good. And it did make even more sense for Warzone because when you collapse your field of view, everything on your screen becomes larger on your monitor, so it's easier to see shit far away. So it did make some sense. But it was also
great for,
weird.
Iron sight guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, very different. You never really get used to it, and I think in the long run it makes you a worse player. Like it makes you worse at aiming when you can't get used to sensitivity because it depends if you're aiming down sight or not. So wouldn't recommend it. You don't see anyone do this anymore, but pretty popular thing to do among KBAM users and MW19
back in the day,
the early Warzone,
yeah. So
anyway. All right, this is probably the last clip.
I think we got one more. Yeah, listen carefully. Oh, it's not the last one.
No, there's 2 loadouts. There might be 1.
Oh, I cracked the pilot. Oh
no!
409-meter kill.
Dude. Yeah. So just
I'm on stadium roof with a Tundra. 409 meters. I hit the pilot. He's over downtown, moving the chopper, not hovering. He's not moving a whole lot, but he's kind of like going up and down. Hit him once, crack his plates because, again, snipers had infinite bullet velocity. Hit a follow-up shot, not that much bullet drop, 409 meters, shoot him out of the chopper. Yeah, that would happen a lot. You'd get sniped out of choppers. We would snipe people out of choppers, but that was one of my longer ones for sure, 409 meters.
Yeah, 400 meters far away. By the way, I'd like to point out there, as you said, you were on the roof of stadium. For those of you who maybe you forgot, there was once upon a time, the stadium in Verdansk was not accessible. You could only be on the roof of it or outside of it. That was it. but then they later opened the stadium. But this was before they opened the stadium. So like people would very often go on the roof of stadium because you could only like rappel up at like 2 or 3 points on this giant fucking roof. So it's actually really solid to like lock down. And a lot of like Iron, a lot of the recon guys would use it a lot because they would just claymore all the rappels and they would have insane elevation over everyone and just snipe off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the good old stadium.
Yeah. Funny, you could kill people from 400 meters. I'm honestly not sure if players even render in Warzone 2 at 400 meters.
Yeah, good question.
Like, at like 250, 300 meters, their character model moving does not render correctly. It's just like a stationary person just sliding across the map. You can't see nothing is moving, just a stationary thing. So it makes it like impossible to shoot people. So like I'm actually not sure if people even render that far anymore.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Just crazy differences now and then.
It's a great question.
Yeah, this must be the final clip here.
I think it is. So make sure you guys are listening.
Okay.
Your podcast sucks.
Oh man, and that's it. Yep. That's the end. So yeah, Tanner's on the roof of train station. He kills some guy, and then the guy in the death comm says, "Your podcast sucks," because our name.
Gameplay.
Yeah, because the name of our characters was the Dropshot podcast. So it's not like that guy was a listener and thought our podcast sucked. He just looked at the name and was so mad he wanted to say a good death comm, and he did. He said a great one.
It may suck still, but yeah, he wasn't necessarily wrong. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, little EM2 gameplay. God, the EM2 is satisfying. Thermite too. I threw a thermite in that.
Thermite,
clip.
Yeah. Remember thermites? Once C4s got nerfed, thermites were the new meta for us anyway. Not everyone used them, but they were really goddamn good. You could so versatile. I remember we spent many minutes talking about why incendiaries or excuse me, thermites are the best lethal for Warzone.
Yeah.
They had that unmatched versatility.
Yep.
Oh, man. And again, vehicles were relevant, so you wanted something to counter them, and thermites were really good at that. And, like, there are thermites in Warzone, too, but there's a lot less reason to use them when you never care about sticking vehicles. Because no one drives them, so, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the montage.
Game was a lot different back then, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of sniping clips. A lot of fun to be had. I mean... We have so many clips. If you guys want to see more, you can go to our Twitch channels. I think clips that we've clipped, I guess, are saved there forever, right? Or is that only
other people can look?
Them? Okay.
No, other people can. They can go through our clips.
If you guys want to look at old clips, you can go to either of our Twitch channels, go to clips. I mean, there are a ton of them there. So we just handpicked some of them, but there are some really great ones there. Some funny clips, a lot of sniping clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of fun. Like, I guess talking about Caldera, when we complained a lot when it got to Ted coming up with all the shower thoughts with the redeploy tokens, the gulag tokens, the balloons everywhere, the no recoil guns, like that was bad and unnecessary at the time because we didn't need any of that because the game was fast enough. We had mobility, the gunplay was pretty good. And then they just added so much cheese and like ruined it. But it's funny because like at this point now, like when they added like tokens to Warzone 2, I just didn't care because I'm like, this game needs it. This game needs all of it. There's nothing going on. It's so boring. They added balloons finally. And now I'm like, we need more balloons. There just aren't enough because the game is so much slower and different now. Yeah, there's no vehicle gameplay. There's no sniping gameplay. It's like all those things that we hated in Caldera, it was because it wasn't necessary in that game. I don't think that game had the core foundation to be fun enough without all that cheesiness. And that's what we need now. And we're just like, now we just don't get any of it really. Other than like the boring, gunplay, I guess, with every gun feeling the same. Yeah. But so that's why I'm like, you know what? In Warzone 3, just, I don't know. Bring back one-shot snipers, make them broken as fuck again. Make the movement so fast. We just need something so much different.
Yeah, and to your point, you've been harping on this for a while, and I think you're on to something. Like, we always complain, and everyone really always complains about, in any video game, like, oh, this thing is super overpowered, or these things are super overpowered. But what are people's favorite games? Like, what is people's favorite Call of Duty multiplayer? Mostly COD 4. How much overpowered, or MW 2, the original, how much crazy overpowered shit was in that game? You had the fucking akimbo double barrel shotguns. You had the crazy kill streaks. You had the one-man army glitch bullshit. There was like a ton of things that were like overpowered cheese. And yet, it's people's favorite game of all time. Many people. And then you look at Warzone 1, it had a lot of dumb overpowered shit too. We're going to get into more of it. But that seems to be everyone's favorite game. Now, I don't think the reason people prefer Warzone 1 over Warzone 2 is only because it had worse balance by and large, which it did. I think there are other reasons as well. But I think it would be naive to say that didn't play any role. I think people kind of like the overpowered shit, at least in hindsight, or at least to some degree. More than they say they do, in other words. I think that's possible. And I think I'm guilty of it too. Because I don't like things that are overpowered. Like, my favorite thing about Warzone 1, I've always said this, is that there was a time, like late Cold War, right before the Caldera switch, where the SMG balance was like, I couldn't do a better job myself. Like, there were actually like 8 usable SMGs, but none of them were overpowered because they were all really good at different things and like different damage ranges, different multipliers, different handling, whatever. And it was so well balanced, but all the guns were different. So like, you know, I'm not saying make things overpowered again necessarily, but I did use the overpowered things and I did have fun doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So
you love the overpowered shotguns.
I sure fucking did. Yeah. So we'll get into that. But there are a couple of other big things from Warzone 1 that we didn't get to really touch on through that video, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on each of these things, but I'll just mention them so you guys can remember them.
Just mention. Yeah.
Stopping power, which we did actually mention. Dead silence was another lootable field upgrade. That's one overpowered thing I will never say I want back. That wasn't fun. That fucking sucked. Fuck Dead Silence. Glad it's gone. But yeah, they eventually took that out. Season 1 meta, which was a thermal HDR. We saw some HDR clips, but we didn't see any thermal clips. But very, very early on, people were using the thermal HDR because no one bothered to run cold-blooded. So you could just fuck people up with it. That was pretty fun. The bunkers. We didn't really talk about that, but there have been a fuck ton of bunkers in Warzone 1. There were bunkers on Rebirth. There were bunkers on Verdansk. Some of them you needed to put in a code. Some of them were just open. Some of them you needed a fucking key card. Some of them you needed to answer 8 phones and no Russian to open. They rewarded you with foresight and fucking advanced UAV and harps, which are like kind of the same thing, but they were technically different. And even weapon blueprints like Mud Dropper, which was, I believe, an MP7. Or excuse me, Milano? One of those two. It was a weapon
I think it was
blueprint.
an MP7.
Yeah, which is what I said. MP7 blueprint. Those were all very cool. Where are the bunkers now? Where are any Easter eggs now? There aren't any.
Yeah.
Cringe. The Hipfire MP5. I can't believe that wasn't seen in any of these clips. I guess it's because it's from so fucking early on. Because the way we did these clips, by the way, or the way I found mine, is I went to all my clips. I sorted by most viewed to least viewed. And then I downloaded some until I was done working. Because we didn't want the video to be 45 minutes long either. Like Tanner said, we have a fuck ton more clips I'm sure that we could have included. But they tended to be later because that's when our podcast got more popular. So they have more views naturally. That's what happened. So that's probably why the Hipfire MP5 isn't in the video. But that thing was fucking ridiculous. The MP5
for months and months
was the meta for so goddamn long.
A year actually, or more even.
Really good time to kill, really good ADS speed, and also really good hipfire accuracy. It was so goddamn solid. Probably the best overall SMG that's ever been in any Warzone game, I think. Actually.
Probably, yeah.
You could ADS with it. You could hip fire it. Had a good enough magazine, 45 rounds. God, it was really good. So
really long damage range, too.
Yes.
I mean, you would use it at 20, 25 meters, hip fire even. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty disgusting. So, super overpowered, but it was, you know, a part of the Warzone history. The R9 Dragon's Breath. I don't know if you guys remember, also known cringely to some people as the Doof. That shotgun was insane.
I despise when people called it that.
Yeah, oh, it's not good. Yeah, but it would two-tap fully plated people at like 18 to 20 meters actually, and it wasn't hard to use. And it had like 18 rounds too. So you get 9 kills. It was really dumb. Really dumb. But anyway, the FFAR, which I guess we did show quite a bit of, but it had really gross strafe speed. Don't forget that. This is one you guys probably forgot about. I forgot about it until I saw, like, in some video I was watching, writing these notes. Do you guys remember the fucking subway system they added? I think it was around the time they opened the stadium, but they like opened up these subterranean stairways on Verdansk, and you got on a subway, and it was supposed to drive you to the next stop unless it was in gas, in which case it would keep going until it reached a stop that wasn't in gas. It never worked as intended. It always dropped you at the next stop, and you would usually just get dropped off in the gas and guaranteed be dead. No one used it ever because it never worked as intended, and they never fixed it. They just like added it, made a blog post about it, talked it up a ton. It didn't work, and it never ended up working ever. I forgot about it until I watched this video that mentioned it. You remember this?
Oh yeah, they were dog shit. No one used them.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't. Did they end up just like removing them, or like I don't even remember what ended up happening with them. But yeah, they were. Yeah, they didn't work.
I think we eventually went to 84, and then they weren't there anymore. But they never fixed them. I'm not kidding. They never worked right.
Yeah, you'd always just go like outside. You would take it and be like, hopefully it takes me somewhere correct. And then you'd be on the opposite side of the map in the gas, and you're just dead.
For sure. Yeah, like you can't, like, even if you have a gas mask, you're just guaranteed dead. Yeah. So anyway, another thing we got was the
loot was beyond crazy. I don't think that's that. I think you're thinking of the Caldera fast travel system. There was not good loot in the Verdansk train bunkers. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember there even hardly being loot down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Caldera fast travel system, that had a lot of loot down in them usually.
Those like vaults or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one clip I almost included, but I didn't. Tanner jumps down into a vault and he goes, "Oh fuck, there's a rat in here!" And then I come in and kill the guy, yeah. But I decided not to. Anyway, the red doors, where you had to like listen for audio cues or whatever, and if you picked the right red door, it would take you to like some random shack that had really good loot in it. And if you took the wrong red door, you would just respawn in the sky, and you could just open a door in the air. Yeah, and you just parachute to wherever or something. But yeah, that was fun and exciting. Combat Scout and Tempered, the first ever Warzone exclusive perks. Combat Scout being the best, obviously, insanely overpowered.
Yep.
Probably the most overpowered thing we've talked about up until this point was Combat Scout.
That's the most overpowered perk in Warzone history, I think.
Oh,
I mean, actual wall hacks. You do 1 point of damage to someone through a wall, and you just see them highlighted, so you just keep wall banging them. It was crazy.
Yeah, you would get so many wall bangs after Combat Scout got added. Yeah, it was really good. And people would even run FMJ if they could spare it to get wall bangs. If they're running, like in some of these LMG metas, it'd be like, oh, I'm going to run FMJ. Fuck it. I have enough velocity or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would just, with Combat Scout, just bang the shit out of people. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the BAR had, it would pin.
Oh, the bar.
Yeah, it would really pin. Like, it would be like there wasn't even a wall there. So that one went crazy paired with Combat Scout.
Yeah, that shit went bonkers.
Yep.
So next one.
Incendiary rounds. Oh god, yeah.
Next one is the incendiary Vanguard round. So if you guys remember, right at the start of the Vanguard integration, you weren't limited, so you could run 10 attachments on every Vanguard gun, and people ran incendiary rounds on their Vanguard SMGs and their ARs a lot of times. And it's not like it did a fuck ton of damage. It did good damage, but it wasn't like too crazy. But the worst part of the incendiary rounds was it interrupted your plate animation. So if someone hit you with incendiary rounds, instead of being able to plate as soon as they're done shooting you, you'd have to wait until the fire burned off you, which was like a solid, like, I want to say actually 2 whole ass seconds. Like, it was a long time. And it made the most annoying meta ever.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed the fuck out of it by like reducing its damage range by like 50% or something, and then people eventually stopped using it. But that was a really annoying meta, was the incendiary meta.
Yeah, that was awful. I hated it.
Miserable dog shit.
And you could
trash.
afford to use it because the bullet velocity was high either way. Yeah, so everyone would use it.
Yeah, it was really dog shit. So anyway, we also got Serpentine. That was our next exclusive Warzone perk, where if you're sprinting, you take less damage. No one knew how it worked, and I still don't know how it works, but people would run it, and some people swore it was good. Some people swore it was terrible. It was usually an excuse when you're shooting a guy with Serpentine and you don't down him. You usually just use that as an excuse because you're dog shit and didn't land enough bullets.
Loved to use that as an excuse.
I was just about to bring up lag. I swear to God. Yeah. Oh, he's so dead there if he doesn't have Serpentine. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember JGod made a very well put together video on this. And I want to say you only actually had Serpentine was only active when you were, I think, tack sprinting. It wasn't even regular sprinting. Like it had to be
some
tack
weird
sprinting.
Shit. Yeah.
Because I remember JGod said like it's pretty good, but also like the bullet to kill difference is anywhere from 0 bullet difference up to 2 depending on the fire rate of the gun. He's like, it does decrease damage taken, but like in most scenarios, it's not changing the time to kill that much at all. So I think a lot of people coped with that for sure, and they're like, oh my god, this perk's so annoying. But it's because you would get the noti saying it was Serpentine, so like either way, you're doing damage to that person. You may be killing them in the same amount of time. It's just because you see that feedback showing you're hitting someone with Serpentine, you would use the excuse that, oh my god, why is it taking so long to kill them? It's because they have Serpentine. But realistically, it wasn't that much of a difference from what I remember in the JGod video.
And I think, if I recall correctly, also, it didn't reduce your damage taken on your plates, only on your character health.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. It was something like that. Maybe it wasn't the tack sprinting thing. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. It was something very specific where like it wasn't your full health or the full engagement for sure. Yeah. Maybe that was it.
It was like you took 20% less flesh damage, not 20% less like damage. You know,
like I think it was one of those perks where some players thought it was so broken and overpowered, and then like I don't even think I ever ran it because I watched the JGod video. I'm like, it's not even that good.
Yeah. So anyway, there's another thing. Lootable perks.
It was a dumb perk to add, though. Let's be clear.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb, and they should have made it more clear how it worked. Lootable perks got added to the game. Fucking hated it. Individual perks, not like whole ass packages. And then you could, and there was no limit either. So like, if you had a red perk and you picked up another red perk, you now had 2 red perks. It was really dumb.
You have like 10 perks.
Yeah, that was awful.
This is a good example of something that hated back then, and now I would probably love this in Warzone because the game needs perks or something. It's just again boring, slow. Having extra perks in this game would make it more fun. Just having like every perk in the game, basically. So, but this is something that was totally unnecessary back then.
Yeah, sure. We also had the speed boost that you could pick up, where you picked that shit up and you moved, I'm not kidding, 500% probably faster, maybe 300%, but you moved like insanely fast. And it was just random ground loot, like speed boosts, like you're playing fucking Mario Kart and you run over one of those fucking little platform things. Obscene. It was
Remember
insane
a lot
that
of
they added this.
The dumb, sweaty streamers were like, speed boost, it needs to be like a field upgrade where I can like press it and use it whenever I want.
Correct.
Nope.
I remember
sure as fuck
that.
doesn't.
Yeah.
That would be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like you would usually just get them like early game when you're looting, and you would use the speed boost for like early game fights or looting. But like the fact that people wanted the ability to pop that as a field upgrade just showed where the player base was at in Caldera. I'm like, why would you want that? That is fucking outrageous, man.
Yeah.
Again, why I always say the best players in the world often have the worst takes on the game, in my opinion. That would be such a bad idea.
Yeah, it would be a miserable idea.
Just think end-game World Series of Warzone with like 30 people all saving their speed boost. What are we doing?
Yeah, it would be dumb. Yeah, I remember at the time what I had said about those people that wanted that was like, they can't think from any perspective but their own. And they're like, oh, I wish it was this way because I want to be able to pop a speed boost and kill someone whenever I want. But they don't realize, hey, if that's possible, it's going to happen to you. You realize that, right? And then you're not going to want it. Like immediately. Everyone would hate it after a week. Like if it did get added that way. It was really dumb.
I couldn't believe the amount of people that wanted that.
It was shocking. It was shocking how many people wanted it. Yeah, we did a segment on it. So anyway, and then redeploy tokens and the extraction tokens as well. I always got these names mixed up, but there was lootable little tokens you could hold. One of them made it that Gulag reentry token and redeploy token. Yeah, or Gulag entry token. So one of them would, like, if you had already won your Gulag or lost it and you found a Gulag entry token, you could try again and go back in the Gulag. And then another one was a redeploy token where you would just bypass the Gulag, and if you died, you would instantly, with no delay. That's one way they could have somewhat balanced this, by the way, is have it count to like 20 before you come back. Because what would happen is you'd be in a 4v4 gunfight, you'd full some guy, and 5 seconds later, he's fucking diving on the ground on all of his shit, helping in the team fight again. And it would swing fights occasionally. Not like super often, but often enough. But anyway, yeah, all that shit got added. Speed tokens, Gulag entry tokens, redeploy tokens. And then, so which were not good. And then now I want to get into a couple things that maybe we'll talk about a little bit more. VPNs, virtual private networks.
Yeah, VPNs.
So this was a huge topic for almost all of Warzone 1 because MW19, which is what Warzone was attached to, was the first cross-platform game, and it also had, as we've learned now, very strict skill-based matchmaking. And people figured out, maybe, I still don't know if VPNs worked, by the way, that if you used a VPN to connect to like different servers or whatever, you would be able to just not have SBMM and you would connect to just dog shit lobbies. And people would often use this to denigrate streamers who are really good. So like if they're a fan of Biffle, they would say, oh, Biffle doesn't VPN. And then the same person would be like, oh, but Huskers, he VPNs. Even though all of them were doing it, by the way. And people would use that COD Tracker website to look at these streamers' lobbies, and they'd be like, that's weird. Nick Merckx has a 4.0 overall KD, but all he gets are bronze lobbies, whereas I have a 2.0 KD, and all I get are diamond lobbies. That's odd. I wonder if it's a VPN. So this was like a huge discourse for the whole time in Warzone 1. And now like no one talks about it or anything. But we even tried using a VPN.
It was this was mostly in Caldera. I mean there were some people, because you could look at anyone's lobbies pretty much, see what their average KD were. I mean Swag never in the Caldera era of Warzone was in a lobby over a 0.7 KD. There were some people where you would look at their stats and that you would be, how the fuck did these people get these lobbies? And that's when we used to always talk about, I mean, half of these streamers have to just be whitelisted. There's no way, right? It's no coincidence they never get good lobbies. Play at the same time of day. They're also in LA where we are, and they would get the easiest lobbies. So the worst part about VPNs
discourse.
Yeah. The worst part about VPNs, the fact that people would be so scared to say they use them. There were some streamers that would just say like, yeah, I use a VPN. Like they wouldn't try to hide it. Like they wouldn't go out of their way to say I'm VPNing. But someone's like, you using a VPN? He's like, okay, yeah, all right. But then other people would be like, I'm not fucking VPNing. What are you talking about?
And those were the people that we would get mad at. Yeah. It's like,
but yeah, every good player in that game VPN, especially with the wager scene in Caldera. There were wagers, little tournaments every single day.
Dude.
They were kill race tournaments, so all of them would VPN, so they would get easy lobbies, get as many kills as possible, because you just played in public matches, you recorded your kills, you live streamed it. So of course they're all VPNing, and those kids were the worst. They would all say they weren't. It's like you're telling me you're playing like a $5,000 little wager tournament for a few hours and you're not VPNing. You're fucking lying, kid. And that was the worst part about VPNs, is how everyone tried to hide it. We were open about it. They didn't work half the time. Sometimes it seemed like they did work.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were times too where it would not help at all. And then also when you would VPN and you would notice most of the lobby would be really, really bad, like well below average. And then there'd be 3 to 5 teams that everyone's KD, they were like 4.5 average KD. You would get in lobbies with streamers all the time. I don't remember some of them, but there were some people we were constantly getting in lobbies with. We're like, oh, and this is one of those big streamers that claims he doesn't VPN, but we're VPNing, and we're the 2 highest KD teams in the lobby.
Yeah, we're the only teams that are positive.
1.5 KD.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was the worst part, is how they would try to hide it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And to be clear, most of the time for Warzone 1, we didn't VPN. I don't think we VPN'd at all in Verdansk. We didn't really care enough.
No, I don't even think they were really they probably were a thing, but they didn't really become super popular until Caldera.
Caldera's when they blew up. Yeah.
And it was probably because when did all like the big websites come out for stats? Because I barely remember looking at those in Verdansk. That was like Caldera too. So I feel like people would see the lobby KD and then they'd start VPNing.
They were both in Verdansk, but not like right away. It was more Caldera.
For sure it would be like the second year of Verdansk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And again, to be clear, we didn't really use VPNs most of the time. We didn't at all in Verdansk. And then in Caldera, I think eventually some of the people we played with were like, you know what? I'm going to fucking try VPNing. So we would play with them, and like if they used a VPN, we didn't care. It was like whatever. I never really cared, but yeah. Oh, another one. Speaking of no SBMM, real quick while I remember it, there was like one week of Iron Trials quads in Caldera that for some reason there was no SBMM in it. Yeah. So I played like 4 hours a day that week because of how bad everyone was. That was maybe the most fun, not the most fun, because this was like post-COVID, but it was close to it was the most fun probably I had in Caldera, because everyone was terrible. I don't know why, but for some reason, I swear to God, it was so obvious. They turned off SBMM for this particular playlist of like a week of Iron Trials quads on Caldera. It was very weird.
Oh, it was so bad, yeah.
But playing with versus without SBMM was just immediately obvious. Yeah. And I guess no one VPNs now because they just don't work anymore or something. Well, I guess because ranked, it doesn't matter, right?
Well, and also it's like you don't really know.
Yeah, you can't use the API
because since you don't see the lobbies, you're not sure. Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's probably part of it as well.
Thing. What you see people just say now on like TikToks of, you know, like when Nixta drops 72 kills or whatever, everyone just always says now, I have this issue where my lobby or players in my lobby shoot back.
That comment is so tired.
It is, yeah. And they're dead serious. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna type this. I'm gonna type this."
Oh, this is gonna be so funny.
People in my lobby shoot back. Yeah, because you're the worst player in your lobby. Everyone shoots at you because you're trash and you can't kill anyone.
Because you're standing in the open.
No one even average has ever typed that comment on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, that's of course true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then hackers.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, there was not a hacker clip shown in that video, but
I watched a couple when I was going through mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just all kinds of hackers. The most obvious hacker was, of course, the classic, the staple of Warzone 1. You didn't play Warzone 1 unless you got in a lobby and spectated some guy with 45 kills using an iron sight Car 98. That's how you know that guy is cheating. And every single shot, he's like ADS. You're spectating him because he just team wiped you. You don't even see what he's aiming at. There's no pics. There's nothing rendering on your screen, and he's using iron sights. But somehow that guy sees him, headshot, dead, just farming. So many goddamn hackers in Warzone 1. The worst it had ever been and ever will be. Hopefully.
Yeah.
The hackers were just always a problem. Almost always a problem.
FAL,
I think
that was
very
the other big
early
one.
they weren't. But
that's what I thought you were gonna say. Actually, was the iron sight FAL.
Oh, that's another classic.
That was a hacker's dream because I think that 2-tap to the head maybe, and it was semi-auto, so it was just constant. I mean, it was full on like spin botting back then. You'd die to someone, you'd spectate them. They'd just be immediately turning, killing everyone through walls and the entire map everywhere.
Oh yeah, like super outrageous.
That was So I guess that was probably late to mid 2021 was when it was the worst. And I remember a lot of players, including us, stopped playing because you actually could not play a match on Verdansk without running into like a spin botter, not just someone walling, someone just full on spin botting, killing everyone on the map.
Yeah, like blatantly cheating, blatantly fucking cheating. Yeah, that happened far too often, and it got a lot worse as that game went on. And there was even a stretch of like, I want to say like 6 weeks where Tanner and I just stopped playing only because of cheaters. If there were no cheaters, we still would have played during that time because we were still having fun besides the cheating situation. But the cheating situation was just so fucking bad, we were done. So, yeah, that was another thing about Warzone 1. And then a billion other bugs. I mean, there was the driving into a wall to crash the whole lobby bug. There was the demon polygon transmog bug where you pick up a gun and it renders like a whole fucking tower coming out of your hand, so you literally can't see anything on your screen. Other little secret spots where you could like go into the map and shoot out at people that can't shoot at you. So I remember one particular spot was at train station. People would go into one of the pillars and just camp there, and they would just shoot out at people while they can't be shot themselves. And I remember specifically, we saw people in there so often that there were a couple times where we were like, all right, let's fucking kill these kids. You guys ready? So we would jump into the wall with them and we would crash the party. And every single time we did that, we would kill the wall, by the way, because you're dog shit if you do this. But there were a ton of places on the map you could do that. So many goddamn bugs in that miserable fucking game that, you know, we would be remiss not to mention. I'm sure there are other like big bugs that I can't think of right now. But the transmog bug, the crashing the lobbies bug, going into the map bug.
I had a pretty good demon polygon clip, but we didn't include it in here.
Oh, really?
But I go into a building and there's just some guy is just a big black wall. He's just a big black blob on my screen. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So there were like a fuck ton of bugs, but yeah, those are some things not shown. So
the thing about those too, it took Infinity Ward months to finally fix it. I mean, it ruined the game for a couple weeks. They could not fix it. And then they would fix it. It would come back again. It would just keep coming back. It wouldn't be as bad as it was at one point, but it took them like, maybe 2 to 3 weeks to fix it when it was at its worst, where like you couldn't see anything on your screen randomly. Your gun would just turn black and cover almost your entire screen.
Yeah.
Like the game was unplayable, and it took them so long to fix it because Infinity Ward devs aren't game devs. They're embezzlers, and they were back then too.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. A couple other ones from chat. Thank you guys. Stim glitching, of course, which was a recurring problem. There would be stim glitching. They would patch it. there would be stim glitching again. They would patch it. They also tried to add choppers that had guns on them, but the problem was you like couldn't die if you were being the chopper gunner. So they just took them out of the game.
They tried to add those back into the game,
and then they added it back into the game, and it would be completely unchanged. It would be the exact same bug, that works the exact same way, and they would just add it back in. Like, oh, we fixed it now. Add it back in. They didn't fix it, and it's not even like broken in a different way. It's the exact same bug. So then they took the choppers out. And then they add them back in 2 weeks later. We fixed it now, and it would still be the same bug. Holy shit, it was great. And eventually, by the way, they never worked. Eventually, they were like, all right, I guess we can't fix it. We're just not letting you use the chopper. So eventually, they just took it out, and there was no chopper gunner. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. They tried so many times.
I forgot about that, and it was so funny. I remember laughing really hard the last time they did it because I was like, I can't believe it. Like, dude, how do you think you fixed it, but you didn't actually? 3 times. Like, how? Like, if it doesn't work in the playtest, but of course they don't playtest the game. That's how they did it. So that's how it happened. So, yeah. So just, a lot of it adds to the charm of Warzone 1 in hindsight, but when you were playing at the time, it wasn't charming. It was just annoying. Yeah. Because, like, a lot of the game was really fun, but you had to fight against cheaters and bugs so often.
The hacking situation was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the worst online games I've ever played in terms of being riddled with cheaters.
For sure. Yeah. Free-to-play BR, who would have thought?
Yeah, it was, it really ruined the game. And it was very frustrating at the time because they didn't say anything for a long time. They would just ignore the issue. They would never even mention anything. They would never say, today we manually banned 50,000 accounts. They finally started doing that, but for a long time, they just acted like nothing.
It was Raven that started doing that. Infinity Ward never did that. They were just a miserable dog shit trash studio. Another bug I forgot about was the flying cars. Remember that? People would be driving cars like 200 meters in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too. There's so many fucking bugs. Yeah. So anyway. All right. So to cap this absolute episode off, we've got a couple questions. These are a couple of great questions. So very quickly, we'll go through these. Favorite meta of all time? You've already mentioned
broken
it.
Meta. Yeah, mine was the M16 with the axial sniper.
A favorite
scope.
Broken meta?
Favorite broken meta.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. The axial M16, huh? I don't know what mine is. So what were the broken metas? We had the art. Oh, I'm sorry. My favorite broken meta was the Jack 12 in Caldera for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Easily, and it was broken to be clear. That gun was overpowered. But it was also a lot of fun. Honorable mention, Street Sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention, Street Sweeper. But it wasn't as good as the Jack 12 because the reload was like 45 minutes. But that was my favorite broken meta. Yeah. Favorite map, including resurgence maps. So any playable space in Warzone. What's your favorite?
Yeah. So obviously Verdansk is the better of the big ones in Warzone 1. But resurgence, it gets harder.
We had Fortune's Keep, Rebirth Island, and what was the other one?
It's probably just Rebirth.
Wasn't there a third resurgence map? Or were there just the 2?
Yeah, I feel like we're forgetting one. Feels like we're forgetting a map.
Aren't we? Rebirth?
God,
Fortunes.
Are we?
Maybe we're not. No, I don't think we are, actually. I think
it was just Rebirth got so many little changes to it.
Yeah.
It kind of changed quite a bit. Yeah, just
Rebirth. Yeah, it was just Rebirth and FK. Yeah.
Yeah, Fortune's Keep was great too, but I think all around Rebirth was just a better, well-designed, fast-paced, quicker resurgence map, I think.
Between all 4 maps, what are you picking?
Probably just Verdansk still. If I was more of a Resurgence player in Warzone 1, it'd be Rebirth, but pretty much all of Warzone 1, I did not play much Resurgence at all, because BR was fun. so I didn't really have a need to play it. So I think Verdansk was the best.
Yeah. My favorite map between Verdansk and Caldera, I guess I would have to say Verdansk right before Verdansk 84. Because that was when they did a lot of cool map changes, like opening stadium and shit, and opening train station. But it was before the sun of Verdansk 84. I'd probably say Verdansk 84 if it weren't for the sun. But because of
I think the actual map was good back then, but the lighting they ruined.
Yeah. And, you know, Caldera, I wanted to like Caldera better than Verdansk, but it was too fucking hilly, man. It just was too hilly. I couldn't do it. And then
I don't think it was as bad as most people think it is. I thought it was still playable. A lot of
I agree.
Really,
I like Caldera better than most people do. I agree with you on that. Especially once we had balloons, it kind of didn't matter. Like, it was still dog shit, but it didn't matter either. So I was like, whatever. For the Resurgence maps, though, I actually liked Fortune's Keep better on the whole. Because there were a variety of engagements. Rebirth was like everything was so close quarters. Unless you were on the top of prison. But with Fortune's Keep, it's like I had a lot of variety. But the problem with Fortune's Keep was the loot was way too good. So that kind of ruined the map, but it wasn't like the layout of the map that I didn't like. It was the loot pool. It was just so many fucking kill streaks because everyone had infinite money. So if I took the loot pool into account, I'd probably go back to Rebirth actually, because it was just miserable streak spam on Fortune's Keep. But anyway, and don't forget, Fortune's Keep had the darkest areas of Warzone in history. If you went into the keep on the first floor,
yes,
you couldn't see anything, dude. It was pitch black somehow, even though it was daytime and there's windows. It was pitch black, the worst visibility I've ever seen in any video game, actually. So, but anyway, And then of all four, I'd again have to say Verdansk. Big map's just more fun.
Bring back Verdansk. I think that's what we're trying to say here, huh?
Well, what about your favorite guns?
I have a few I want to talk about real quick. Okay. Most underrated of all time. Maybe not underrated, properly rated. The MW19 AS Val. Great time to kill. Fun to use. The issue was its max mag was what, 32 or something?
It was 30.
It was a solo or duos gun, and it fucked, though. It had a great time to kill. For the longest time, I think it was like the fastest killing full auto gun. But people wouldn't use it because of the mag.
Correct.
But that was a really fun gun.
It had a lot of recoil, too.
Yeah, a great close to mid range little thing paired with like a Swiss or a Car 98 or something. Probably a Car 98 at the time, but yeah, really fun gun. One I think the most forgotten probably. You don't hear about that? That was a great little toy. Vanguard Blixen, most rewarding and satisfying sounding and feeling SMG we've ever had.
The slower fire rate, but chunky too.
The slower fire rate, the way it recoiled, how it looked through the red dot, the sound, the magazine size. I loved the Blixen.
The Blixen was
really
great.
Fun gun.
Yeah, keep that
EM2. Ted decided because a few of the best players in the world were using it. He decided it was too easy, so they completely, just absolutely obliterated, gutted it. They made it so unusable in Caldera. Whereas before they nerfed it, it competed. It didn't have the 6x scope like all the Caldera guns did. Had a similar time to kill. It was a lot harder to use. And they just fucking gutted it because they didn't want people using the old gun. So that was really unfortunate. EM2 was a very satisfying gun. And then, of course, the Swiss, my favorite sniper of all time. It will forever be my favorite sniper. Again, liked it so much better than the car. All of my favorite moments when I look back and think of Warzone, pretty much all of them revolve around the Swiss sniper.
Yeah, I've got a couple as well that I'd like to mention. I'm probably forgetting a few, but here are some. The Cold War AK. Just such a solid, versatile, heavy-hitting gun. You could use it as sniper support with irons. You could put an axial on it. You could put a red dot on it. You
can get crazy strafe with that.
Yeah, you could do a lot of different builds with it. It was just a solid little item. I loved the Cold War AK. Fantastic gun. Another one I really liked was the SPR. Now, I'm including after the hit scan got fixed. A fixed SPR was still a lot of fun. It was a nice little middle ground between like an HDR, because it had really good velocity and a very straight line bullet compared to like the car, but it also ADS'd faster than like a fucking HDR or something. So the SPR was actually a lot of fun. I used it a lot. The Jack 12, of course, one of my favorite guns ever because it was a fully automatic shotgun. Speaking of aiming being cringe, the hipfire PPSH from Vanguard, that was good even after a nerf, I remember. That thing was fucking fantastic. Fantastic.
Don't say it like that. I don't like how you said that.
It was really good.
I didn't like that.
It probably had the best hipfire of any SMG ever when it first got added, and it had 72 rounds too. That was really fucking good.
Tight little spread.
Tight, tiny little, just a tight young spread.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic.
Yeah.
There was another one I was gonna mention. Fuck. Oh no, I don't remember. I don't know, but anyway, I saved the best for last. My favorite gun my second favorite gun in any FPS game of all time, and my first favorite gun in any Call of Duty since this podcast started. The Ram, the Bullpup fully automatic assault rifle, the Ram fucking Siente, dude. The Ram 7.
Siente, not Siente.
And that's what I said. The best goddamn assault rifle in Warzone 1. Oh, it was fun, dude. Not overpowered.
You love that thing.
But not underpowered either. Had the goofiest recoil pattern, making it a K-BAM only gun. 50 round mag, decent enough ADS and reload speeds, in addition to a very competitive TTK, fire rate, and damage range and multipliers. It was just a solid little fucking gun. How did we forget the Bruin, by the way? That was one of the metas that we forgot to mention.
I never used the Bruin during that whole meta. I didn't even like have it unlocked. During that entire meta, you guys were always like, why are you not using the Bruin? I'm like, I don't want to use an LMG. I don't want to use it. I don't care how good it is. I'm not using it. And I never did. During that whole Bruin meta, which lasted probably a month and a half, 2 months, I did not use it.
I don't remember using it that much either. I know I did, but yeah, the Bruin, it was an LMG and it came out like post-launch, but it had the capacity for a like box mag. So that made its handling way better and its reload way faster. And then it still had like that LMG damage and damage range. So it was really good. It was like overpowered. So there was definitely a Bruin meta as well. Not that that was one of my favorite guns. It wasn't. But the Ram 7 was. And let's be clear. God damn it. I have a clip, dude. I wish I could have found it. But it was just like, it was probably too long to be a clip. That's probably why. But I remember there was one game, dude. I had a Ram 7 in the hills east of fucking military base, and I was just dumping everyone. It was so fun. It's such a good gun, and it makes me mad that not everyone loved it, dude. And it was
I was one of those people. I didn't use it that much. I didn't like it.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like, which I understand, because instead of like vertical recoil, it went like left hard. So it made it really easy.
Up and to the left.
Yeah, it made it easy to control on keyboard and mouse if you could get used to it. But on controller, that's just uncontrollable. It's way easier to just like pull down a controller than like pull like diagonal down right. It was weird. So it was like it was one of those K-BAM guns. But I remember this was Tfue put the Ram on the map. Tfue was the big streamer that was using the Ram. He was the Ram guy.
I thought it was Symphony. It was Tfue. You're right. I think Sim ended up using it for a long time. But yeah, Tfue was the first one. God, I forgot he played Warzone even.
He played a lot of Warzone, dude. He would drive around in a Jeep with a Ram 7. He would find people with his UAV popped. He would get out of his car, immediately mount his hood, and just fry people with it. And then he'd get right back in the car. That was the Tfue classic.
He's really good at video games. Didn't he just stop streaming altogether? I think he did.
I don't know what happened for a long time now. I don't know. He's got generational wealth, so yeah.
Yeah, he's chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ram 7, yeah. No, what's interesting about the Ram, by the way, the irons weren't good, but it was okay back then because of the way the gun bounced. You could still keep track of the irons. Think of how unusable the Ram would be in this game. It would be like the M4 irons bouncing back and forth. You would not be able to see or shoot anything with it.
True.
Because that's always what I didn't like, is I didn't enjoy the irons, but you could track with them, okay, because the front post didn't just go away when you start shooting automatic like it does now.
Yeah, yeah. And then an honorable mention to anything akimbo.
Yeah.
Just anything akimbo. I remember, what was the full auto pistol that got added? Oh God, I'm never gonna remember the name of it. But there was a full auto pistol added. I think it was one of the first pistols they added that was full auto. And it had like a 72 round drum mag. It might have been the Psychov. Yeah, I think it was the Psychovs. Those were like the first
shot meta.
Oh, the snake shots, yeah. That was the I guess the snake shots were the first overpowered akimbo pistols, but the Psychovs got added and those were really busted. And then they ended up making your movement speed like 1% if you ran at akimbo, so no one used them anymore. And then the Diamatis was another one that was really good akimbo. And I used that when they were broken because you had to. And I wish I could have found the clip because I would have put it in the montage if I came upon it. I'm using I don't know if I was streaming actually. Maybe that's why there's no clip of it. Or I couldn't find it. But anyway, we're playing on Verdansk. Diamatis just got added. I'm using them akimbo. We're playing quads. We're going from Boneyard to like the west toward like the fire station. And there's a team in like one of the buildings or whatever. And I think we're playing fours. Everyone else on my team dies. I have like one plate. And I'm like weak. I only have one plate. But there's only one other dude on their team left alive. And he's in a building and I know he's there. You might remember this, Tanner. It was the funniest thing it was probably the funniest deathcom I've ever gotten. I come around the corner with my Diamatis. I have one plate. This guy has full plates. But he's not using akimbo Diamatis because he's a fucking idiot. Guess what happens? He just dies. He just instantly gets deleted because they were entirely too overpowered. And he has the most mad deathcom, like genuinely upset deathcom I've ever heard, where he's clipping his mic, screams at the top of his lungs, "Nerf these fucking guns!" or something like that. He says like, "Nerf the fucking Diamatis," some shit like that, but he fucking screams it. He was so goddamn upset and I was dying laughing, dude. I don't know if I was streaming, but it was probably my favorite deathcom ever. So shout out to the Diamatis, but
yeah.
It wouldn't make my list of favorite guns. Ram 7's got to be my favorite.
Yeah, you were a big rammer.
Big Ram guy, yeah. And by the way, for those of you who may be wondering what's your number one favorite gun of all time, the Call of Duty Black Ops 4, what was it called? KN57? I think it was called the KN57.
That sounds right.
It was the BO4 AK. That's my favorite gun of all time.
Yeah. That was
God damn it, it was so good. Deeply satisfying, yeah. Great irons. It had unique properties that I won't get into with its TTK, but it was the only
AKs are always satisfying, yeah.
Yeah, it was the only AR in BO4 that could like 3-shot someone to the chest inside of 8 meters. Or so, it was something like that, where it had that unique property. It was the only AR to do it. But it was also really good at everything else too. So it was like really fucking strong. Because one less bullet to kill in BO4 was like a really big deal. So it was just fucking gross. And it just sounded so good too. Just like not super chunky, but pretty chunky, you know? God, it was
It's
fun,
the fire rate of
man.
AKs. They're all, like COD 4 AK is like probably my favorite video game gun of all time. Yeah, Cold War AK was satisfying. BO4 AK. MW19 AK kind of. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's just always a satisfying
so
gun.
Bad. But yeah, it's always a great little weapon. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one of the few things the communists did correctly was make that gun, that Kalashnikov. Shout out to Mr. Kalashnikov. So anyway. Oh, they're socialists. Oh, kill yourself.
Make one a 9mm.
How about that? Hey, face the wall if you corrected me on that. A 9mm AK. I think that's a conversion kit in MW19.
Sure yeah. So, I'm sure it is in real life.
Shout out to conversion kits. So anyway, that's it. I'm done. If you guys want to watch the montage, I have officially just this second made it public. So you can go watch the montage uninterrupted. Go to our YouTube to find it. If you can't see it somehow, go to the clips playlist on our YouTube.
Oh, it just went live. I got the noti.
And you'll see it there. Yeah. It's titled Farewell Warzone 1, the Dropshot podcast. You guys can watch that uninterrupted if you want. But we hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane. I mean, Warzone 1, for all of its many faults, was a charming game. I think that's the best word I could use to describe it. It was charming. And that's
charming, yeah.
In no small part due to its many blemishes, yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. So that's it. We'll be back next week, boys and girls. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Patreon, you know the deal. Stay humble.
Stay humble.